of excitement across Europe and Asia. SuperLeague Formula comes down to the final round. Five drivers have the chance to win €1 million. But only one can be champion and take the ultimate prize. There are a maximum of 106 points on offer. Jelmer Berman led the championship only 3 rounds ago. Can he turn round his recent run of poor fortune?
Enough with the bad luck. Let's rock this race.
Brilliant!
Tottenham's Craig Dolby led the championship for most of the season, until this.
Dolby's out! Dolby's in trouble!
I'm alright.
He may no longer be in the top spot, but Dolby has regained his confidence.
I know I can win this. I'm just going to give it large one last time.
When Chris van der Drift had his horror crash at Brands Hatch, no one was thinking about a championship win. But Chris has recovered, and his replacement Ben Hanley would love nothing more than to put an even bigger smile on Chris's face.
It's not just for me. It's for the team and for Chris.
Max Wissel is the silent assassin. He hasn't led the championship at any stage, but he's the most consistent driver of the season. Now he's just 7 points off the top spot.
Consistency can win the championship.
But the man everyone's got to beat is Davide Rigon. He won the title in 2008, and he's got support from the person who matters most.
Bye, Davide Rigon!
I want that trophy. I will do it for my family.
From Silverstone in April to Spain in October, SuperLeague Formula reaches its climax close to the old city of Pamplona, where the Bull Run provides an adrenaline rush that's comparable to a grid full of 750 brake horsepower single-seaters, which are due to race here at the brand new Circuito de Navarra in the northwest of the country. This is the 12th and final round of a championship that's travelled around Europe and visited Mongolia and Beijing before returning to the nation that won the World Cup earlier this year, making it the ideal venue for the final showdown in this blend of football and motor racing. Hello and welcome from me, Ben Edwards, along with SuperLeague development driver Bruce Giovanni, as we prepare for 3 back-to-back races that will determine the recipient of €1 million. Bruce, what do you think of this circuit?
Well, it's great. I really love it. It's full of very technical parts, slow corners, second gear, lots of places to overtake, and a very, very long straight with a fantastic top speed. A great place for the last round.
Well, the current point standings show that Anderlecht are ahead by 7 points over FC Basel. Then there's a tie behind them between Olympiacos and Tottenham for 3rd. AC Milan is still in with a shout at the title in 5th. But further behind, there's a lot of potential winners. Andy Soucek for Flamengo. John Martin of Beijing could easily win the race here today. And watch out for the likes of Adrian Valiers driving for Sporting Lisbon and Frank Pereira for Bordeaux. But as we reach the end of the season, there's no denying the fact that one of the most striking images of the year came at Brands Hatch when Chris van der Drift had this absolutely huge accident. The good news is that he's back and racing this weekend for Galatasaray, yet another testament to the strength of the Super League car. Well, sadly, he had some problems in qualifying, but how did the contenders get on in that all-important qualifying session? Let's take a look. The draw for qualifying took place in the city of Pamplona, and of the 5 championship contenders, 4 of them ended up in Group A. It was Dolby who had the luck of the draw, the only one in Group B. In Group A then, we saw Anderlecht, Beijing, Bordeaux and Milan make it through, but 2 of the championship contenders failed to. Olympiacos and Basel both failed.
We don't know what's happened. The car's quite balanced, but it's just over 1 second too slow. We have no idea.
In Group B, Porto set the fastest time, but crucially, Tottenham made it through to the quarter-finals. They were joined there by Liverpool and Flamengo. The first quarter-final saw Anderlecht versus Flamengo. Davide Rigon, championship leader, determined to get through to the next stages, and he dominated the first quarter-final.
Well done.
3rd place in the championship, Tottenham's Craig Dolby found himself up against Frank Pereira of Bordeaux. Dolby was determined to keep that challenge up, especially knowing that Davide Rigon was already into the semi-finals. And Dolby's out! Dolby is not into the semi-finals!
Qualifying is a weakness, and to be starting P5, I think they've just told me on the grid for tomorrow. I've won from a lot further back from there.
There were no title contenders in quarter-final 3, but John Martin of Beijing has been strong in qualifying recently, and he did it again, going through to the semis. But of all the contenders for the title, AC Milan perhaps needed it more than most, and he was fast, Jelmer Berman, throughout the session. Beating Porto, Alvaro Parent was out. The first semi-final saw Anderlecht go up against Bordeaux. So could Davide Rigon continue his remarkable form? Well, Bordeaux had the fastest time to the first split, but Davide Rigon responded and once again managed to go through into the final. AC Milan were up against Beijing in the next one. AC Milan wanting to get as good a grid position as possible in their remote chase of the title. Jelmer Berman has lost a big opportunity there.
Bad luck, things happening, you know, 200 to be pole position or at least front row, but it's not too bad.
For the third time, Anderlecht and Beijing found themselves battling over pole position, but for Anderlecht, the chase for the championship meant they were desperate to get the top spot for this one. Here comes championship leader Davide Rigon. Has he done enough to take pole position? Yes, he has!
Great job.
It was an impressive display by Davide Rigon for Anderlecht, taking his third pole position despite carrying that burden of being championship leader. So he's in the top spot for the start of this first race of the day, but John Martin will be pushing for a race victory from the outside of the front row. Jelmer Berman for AC Milan is third, and Frank Pereira lines up fourth for Bordeaux. Next up, it's Craig Dolby for Tottenham, starting fifth. Liverpool's Frederic Vervisch is alongside. Seventh on the grid, Alvaro Parent of Porto, and Andy Soucek is eighth for Flamengo. Tristan Gomedy for Lyon is 9th, Robert Dornbos for Corinthians is 10th, Ben Hanley for Olympiacos back in 11th, then Adrian Valias is 12th, and way back in 13th, there's another championship contender. It's Max Wissel for Basel. He's got Esteban Guerrieri for PSV alongside, then it's Marcos Martinez for Seville, Maxi Cortez of AS Roma, and the final row, Maria de Vallota for Atletico Madrid, and Chris van der Drift of Galatasaray. The lowest of the championship contenders on this grid is that car of FC Basel. Starting 13th, he might only be 7 points behind the championship leader, but it's all to do for Max Wissel. And Olympiacos, sort of teammate car there. Ben Hanley driving, he starts in 11th place, so he also has a lot to do. But Bruce, let's move a little further up the grid.
Yes, further up the grid we have Liverpool and Frederic Vervisch, who hasn't been with your team. Okay, this is still Ben Hanley, and now we're having the grid with the two leaders.
Yep, the two front row men, Beijing, and there is Liverpool. Frederic Vervisch, he's been impressive.
Yeah, he's been doing well, especially in the last few races. A bit more discreet this weekend, but he's always strong in the races.
Yeah, well, it's going to be interesting. We've got two English Premier clubs alongside one another there. We've got Tottenham alongside with Craig Dolby, and of course he's one of those championship contenders. He loves to race hard. Got a couple of cars to overtake, though, ahead of him. And if we take a look at the next row, somebody on the next row who has just got to fight for victory.
Yes, Frank Pereira, he's been in Flamengo car and in different cars, but every time he's been doing super well. He was very competitive yesterday, only 1/10 away from the poleman Anderlecht, so Frank is doing very well so far.
AC Milan then next up, Jelmer Berman with that outside chance still of winning this title, a series he led in the earlier part of the year, but he's had some bad luck recently. He's hoping to put that behind him.
And then on the front row, John Martin. John was brilliant yesterday, qualifying, did so well. He really wants to win that race, but he's not a championship contender. He's super competitive though, and he's going to go for the win.
But on pole position, it is Anderlecht's Davide Rigon. There he is. He's got that 7-point advantage in the championship, and he has got the top starting position. But Bruce, you're just spotting something there.
Yeah, he is not on new tires, and John Martin on the right side of the screen is on new tires. So John is really going to go for the win in his first race. He's on the right side of your screen with the green car. The championship leader is on the left side. No new tires for the championship leader Anderlecht car. So it's going to be very interesting.
That is interesting. So tactics there already for the team, but as the pace car leads them away on the formation lap, it is going to be Davide Rigon once he gets the signal to lead them away from pole position. It is a rolling start, remember, so when they come back next time, it'll be a rolling start to go into that first corner. And we'll take a little look at the track as they go around on this formation lap and get an idea of any potential overtaking opportunities. Away they go then. Let's just make sure they all get off the line cleanly. Ben Hanley is away safely, so is Chris van der Drift from the very back of the grid in the Galatasaray car, and it does look as though they're all away smoothly. First few corners are going to be crucial here, Bruce.
Yeah, they are. Turn 1, 2, 3 is a succession of corners, which are right-hand corners, and it's going to be super hard to see all the cars through there. I'm sure there will be something happening there, and let's hope that the leaders are having a good clean go through there, because it's going to be very, very hard, those first few corners.
Absolutely. Well, Davide Rigon is leading them around from this pole position and taking us around the part of the circuit just chased by Beijing there. Let's see if we can get a quick word with Davide. We've got him linked up to our radio. Davide, this is Ben in the commentary box. How are you feeling as you're going into the first race of the day here?
Everything okay, everything okay.
We wish you luck, and Davide keeping it fairly brief, and everything's okay, he says. So looking confident. They're just coming down that back stretch. Look at the championship standings once again. 7 points the gap between himself and Basel. But remember, Basel and Olympiacos, Bruce, have both qualified a bit poorly here, haven't they?
Yeah, they have. Actually, Basel is the worst qualifier. Starts 13th on the grid. I spoke to them yesterday. They don't really know what happened with the car, and they worked very late last night on the data and on the setup to try to fix the problem. Maybe they have. We don't know. It's going to be a surprise.
On board with Tottenham, and he's tied in the points at the moment with Olympiacos. Quick view from Ben Hanley's car, but now we are beginning to build up to what is going to be an absolutely fascinating afternoon. A new format, by the way, this weekend. It means that the two races are separated by just 25 minutes, and then a super final as ever, only 10 minutes after the second race. It is going to be the most concentrated Super League racing format that we have ever seen.
Yeah, it's going to be very tight, and let's hope nothing happens to anyone between the races, because it's going to be very hard to fix the cars. Look at the tension everywhere in all the box. This is John Martin, who's not a championship contender, but he is a potential race winner today, so everybody's up there ready, and you can feel the tension everywhere on the track.
€1 million at stake here at Navarra in Spain, where the championship will be decided. The first race of the day is about to get underway. Watch for the lights, we go green, and it's John Martin on the outside for Beijing, Anderlecht on the inside, Davide Rigon. John Martin making a very good start, but has he got enough? Yes, he has. He sweeps into the lead, and Anderlecht in second place. A great start from the second row as well, I think, but AC Milan may have missed out a little bit because Liverpool squeezing through. Anderlecht's got a bit wide. He could lose second. What's else? We've got a spinner at the back there. Is that Olympiacos, I think?
Yeah, I think it's Olympiacos. Good start from Max Wiesel as well, who was on the outside. Tottenham still, P6, AC Milan in front of Tottenham. They're side by side into the corner, and Max Wiesel right behind them at the same time.
Look at Dolby. Dolby's got round AC Milan there, and he's going chasing after a Liverpool car now.
Yeah, very good start from Liverpool as well. We didn't quite see because everything's happening everywhere. At the back, Olympiacos, so that was Olympiacos at the back. There is Flamengo as well up there, side by side with Tottenham.
And here comes Berman trying to make it three abreast. He can't do it. Dolby's going to lose the place, or is he? Because Andy Suchek trying to go through, and he's done it, I think, but Dolby will have the inside line for the next corner. Oh, this is great racing, and he just about holds on to the position.
Yeah, very fair driving from both of the drivers, because the track is very narrow around there. And look now, Dolby's done a fantastic job because he overtook two cars. Very, very good. Two cars in the first lap. Amazing job from him.
I tell you what though, Basel have had a great start here. FC Basel have made up ground. Olympiacos were on board with somebody got pushed wide. Up behind the PSV car there. I think that was Leon dropping back a touch. Tristan Gomendi in the mix. Olympiacos squeezing through on the inside there, trying to get past Leon as they come through the final corner. It's hard to know where to look next.
Yeah, everything's happening so fast in this first corner. Olympiacos did a good job. He's side by side with PSV Eindhoven now. Defending behind, it's Olympique Lyonnais with Tristan Gomendi, so there is a fight for every single place on the track. Tottenham pulling away now from Flamengo. AC Milan not being able to make a move.
Leon, that's Tristan Gomendi off down to the first couple of corners. Beijing leads the race. Anderlecht, championship leader, in second. I think Davide Rigon will be pretty happy about that. He's ahead of all his championship contenders. The next major contender is Tottenham. They're in fourth place thanks to Craig Dolby's strong first lap, which we always expect from him. There is the white and blue Tottenham car, chased by Flamengo. AC Milan lost out effectively. Basel, the other big gainer in that first lap melee, because he's got it from 13th into 8th place, so well done to Max Wiesel.
Yeah, very good start from Max Wiesel. He went round the outside into the first corner, as we're seeing Adrien Baez defending on Galatasaray, and Chris van der Drift on AS Roma.
Yeah, Maxi Cortez. Let's take another look at the start here, Bruce. It was a much cleaner start than we've seen on some occasions.
No, it was a very clean start, and you can see the top speed of the green car of John Martin being a little bit better, taking the advantage. And look, everything behind was kept tidy. Very good start from Max Wiesel as well, who's on the right side of the screen, but inside Tottenham was nearly in the grass. Look at that. Fantastic action there. Very clean driving from everyone.
And at that point, Dolby was behind Berman, but he managed to get past him on the next lap, of course. Yep. But amazing, I'm amazed they all got through that first corner. This was the replay from onboard Tottenham, and you see he had a little think about the inside.
Yep, but then he had no room, no way to go. The right lane here is on the inside, as you can see. AC Milan had a good run onto Girondin Bordeaux, and so did Tottenham. He kept it all together. Best places on the inside, clearly, and he overtook Frank Pereira.
Yep. And this is how Basil did it.
Yeah, okay, I understand. Very early on the power, good reflex. Around the outside, he overtook already 2 or 3 cars at that stage, and another one that we didn't see on the right side of the screen.
And this is the view from onboard Olympiacos. A very quick getaway for Ben Hanley as well. But it did go wrong for Olympiacos. I wonder if we'll see this from the onboard view as they headed down into turn 1. He's sort of jostling for position here. Now, what happens next?
I think he's gonna spin in the next corner because he tried to dive on the inside. Not quite sure what happened there. Yeah. Oh, no, not yet. It wasn't him then. It was PSV Eindhoven.
Okay, it was the other red and white car. It was hard to pick them out there, but so Ben Hanley actually got through those first couple of corners okay. And as you say, it must have been Guerrieri who had that spin behind. The car's looking pretty similar, but a bit of locking up going on around it, and then somebody going around the outside of him as they came through. And in fact, that was PSV, so it can't have been him either. Maybe it was the Atletico Madrid car, perhaps.
Yeah, Maximo Cortés is out of the race. He must have been spinning on that first corner, and now we're back with the leaders. AC Milan actually in 4th position, sorry, 6th position.
So Beijing still leading this race. Fastest lap to Beijing. Oh, Tottenham off! Tottenham runs very wide. Craig Dolby struggling to get back on, and he recovers it somehow. Typically good car control from him, but that was a mistake.
Now he has to push. Like he says, he has to give it large again, and he used the push to pass on that straight. That's why he was coming so fast into the first corner and lost it a little bit. Then look at that, he's really trying hard, but that's trying too hard. 2 mistakes in the same lap. You can't do that. Has to focus and calm down a bit.
On the left, you saw the grid graphic showing how people have progressed, and Basil have certainly made the most progress. Replay of that moment, and thankfully there's a good bit of runoff on the outside.
Yeah, if it was gravels, he would have been out of the race. Looks like he has a bit of turning oversteer all the time. Maybe he should switch the brake balance towards the front a bit, because it happened twice already.
Well, Beijing have the advantage here. Remember, John Martin's not a factor in terms of winning the outright championship, but he does want to go through today and try and win the super final and get that €100,000 check. But Davide Rigon in second, looking good for scoring points here. A good start from Frederick Vervish of Liverpool. He's sitting pretty in 3rd place in the Liverpool car. Tottenham still running in 4th. But look at this. Basel have gained some 6 places from their grid slot, up to 7th now. Tottenham gaining 1. Liverpool, as I say, it was a good start because they gained 3. Anderlecht lost 1 place, but not really losing out too much. And look at AC Milan. They're one of the big losers there. They've dropped 5 places. Jelmer Berman's all the way down in 8th place, and that's going to cost him because AC Milan were the furthest back in the points coming into this one.
Yeah, indeed. It was the one that got stuck a little bit at the start, as we're seeing Corinthians making a move on PSV Eindhoven. Good move from Robert Dombos.
You've got some pretty feisty racers back here. You're on board with Ben Hanley, who's had victories himself in the Olympiacos car, but you have to say that Olympiacos' rather slim hopes of winning this championship might be slipping by, although let's never forget that the second grid of the day will be entirely reversed. Oh, big slide from Guerrieri, runs wide, loses the place, and that was just an error, I think.
Yeah, just an error. He's been struggling to get back into the car and having a good feel for the car, especially under the brakes, as you could see. So that's the back of the field.
I'm just looking at the graphic of how many push-to-passes are available to the lead group, if you like, top 10. Still 6 available to most, 7 available to Bordeaux and to AC Milan, so lots of opportunities there to use them. We're watching from onboard FC Porto, that is in 9th place. You're looking at the back of the AC Milan car of Jelmer Berman, and Berman will be a little disappointed to be where he is right now. If anybody needed a good start and a few good first corners to try and put some pressure on Davide Rigon, it was the black and red car of AC Milan. It hasn't happened, and now he finds himself busy protecting a position from Porto.
Yeah, he is defending, because you can see that he's turning a little bit early and looking in his mirrors, so he's not looking really good at the moment. AC Milan, clearly not a good move. Olympiacos is using a push to pass just now, as he's trying to make a move on Corinthians, and he goes around the outside. Great move by Ben Hanley.
Yeah, can he get it slowed down? Yes, he can. That was how you use push to pass to perfection, because the extra horsepower got him past, and then he controlled it under the brakes.
Exactly. You have to be aware that you're coming to the corner a bit faster and that you have to hit the brakes probably a little bit before. AC Milan now, Jelmer Berman still pushing, getting a little bit of room, getting away from FC Porto, who's actually doing quite well.
So the classification, we're 10 minutes into this first race. It's a 40-minute race. Let's just take a look at how he used push to pass here. Got the extra straight line speed and then made it look easy.
Yes, round the outside. He had no choice. I mean, he had to go round the outside. First corner is flat. That's how he kept it.
So up into, that was the replay, another look at that from the other angle, and that put him into 10th place then. So Olympiacos is gaining ground, it is making up some useful places. Remember, trying to get through to the super final will be very important, and picking off places here is crucial to them. But out front at the moment, it is still the Beijing car leading by some 2.4 seconds over Anderlecht. Liverpool running third, Tottenham in fourth place, then Flamengo and Bordeaux in the top six. We're back on board with Alvaro Parent in ninth. Still chasing after Jelmer Berman. No way to get through just yet. Anybody going to use their push to pass here, or are they going to save it for later in the race? We've got a pit stop to cope with as well, remember, during this race. So down into the first corner they come, and still Porto chasing after AC Milan. Tottenham still running in fourth position, but he's used a bit more push to pass than some of the others.
Yeah, he's been pushing very hard to try to keep up and not let Anderlecht fly away, but at the moment they have.
Let's just take a look at, if they finished as they are now, then Anderlecht would have a 26-point lead in the points. Not enough to wrap it up, certainly in one corner, but in one race. But look at Tottenham, they would be only 2 points further back. Oh, and we've got a spinner. That's Chris van der Drift, a spin or an off of some sort for the Galatasaray driver, making his return, and he's having a bit of a tough weekend, but it's just great to see him in a car, and I think it'll do his confidence the world of good to get a race in before the end of the season.
Yeah, he seemed totally comfortable yesterday morning around the first time he jumped into the car. He was on the pace immediately. So no worries for him, as we're now back on John Martin, the leader, who's doing a good job pulling away gently every lap, a few more tenths, 2.5 seconds lead now. But I'm telling you, Anderlecht is looking very strong, because John was on new tires, and pulling a 2.5 second gap is not huge compared to an old set of tires. And very discreet but very efficient in third position is Frederic Vervisch, who did a brilliant start, and he's very competitive again.
Yeah, looking good for Liverpool, isn't he? Tottenham still in fourth, Flamengo in fifth. Just looking at the push to pass available, Tottenham having 5 available, Bordeaux keeping them in reserve perhaps, but Olympiacos definitely still on a charge here, having got past a little while ago, past Corinthians. He's now putting the pressure on that group ahead, which is Porto, the blue car of Porto, and then of course AC Milan just ahead of that. Ben Hanley's definitely going for it and trying to keep the Olympiacos team in the hunt for the championship. That was a little wide there by Jelmer Berman through the exit of turn 6, but he's gathered it together. This could be one to watch over the next few laps, couldn't it?
Yeah, he seems to have lots of grip, and the teams are getting ready for the pit stop. Ben Hanley really closing the gap on the 2 cars in front. AC Milan is struggling big time now, especially in all the slow corners. If you have a look, we're on board with Porto. Look at the AC Milan car ahead, just steering in very early and then having quite a lot of understeer, pulling away, still having good traction, but he's very slow in those corners just now.
And maybe they went for a used set of tyres to start this race, AC Milan.
Yeah, probably.
And then maybe they'll have a new set to switch on to after the pit stop. So if that's the case, they'll go for, I would think they'll come in as early as they possibly can, won't they? Beijing still leading, still second. Anderlecht, there you go. Liverpool in third. AC Milan using push to pass, but so is the Porto car. So that will sort of cancel one another out. They've both gone for the extra horsepower as they head down this long straight into turn 1. AC Milan got the extra horsepower, but so has Porto behind, and there's no change, of course.
No, there's no change. It's good. It means that Jelmer Berman is very well concentrated and aware that he's got FC Porto right behind him, and he's defending. He knows he was close enough to try to make a move on him, and that's how you defend. You can use a push to pass to defend when the other one is using a push to pass to attack.
So just keep an eye on who's got what left in terms of push to pass, and the pit crews are already getting ready for the next stage, which is those crucial tyre stops. And who's going to have new tyres? Well, there's a set of new tyres available for someone. Tottenham again still holding on to 4th place. Flamengo 5th, chased by Bordeaux and Basel, and the pit window has opened. As you see in the top of the screen, the clock ticks away now. It's open for 10 minutes. You've got to come in and make your tyre change at some point in that 10 minutes, but not for the moment for John Martin. Race leader stays out a little longer.
Yes, he was on a new set of tyres at the beginning of the race, so he has to make the most of it, and he will carry on with them as long as possible. And the Anderlecht is in, and Anderlecht has entered the pits.
Now,
So
has he got a
Flamengo.
new set of tyres to use for this? Because you noticed that he had a used set on the initial, and I think he might, yes.
Yes, new set of tyres for Davide Rigon.
So, quick stop required here from the Anderlecht guys. No stalling, that looked pretty smooth. Watch the total pit lane time on the bottom of your screen. Tottenham, that car being turned around pretty rapidly as well.
New tyres as well for Tottenham.
Interesting. Anderlecht making their way down the pit lane. Let's just see what that total time is, and no change between Tottenham and Flamengo there. You can see that they've kept station as where they were. Behind Basel have gained again. Great stop by GU. They have got the Basel car out ahead of AC Milan and Porto, and that was a very impressive stop for Max Wissel's crew.
Fantastic job from them. He's overtook basically 2 or 3 cars inside of the pit lane. That's amazing. Very short stop.
Yeah, very good stop indeed, and Jelmer Berman's chances are slipping further and further away here, Bruce, because he desperately needed a good result, and it's not happening for him. On board with FC Basel then, Max Wissel fired up and charged to see what he can do here. Meanwhile, some more good racing going on further back. Bordeaux under pressure, but reclaiming the spot, is it?
Yeah, I think that was Guerrieri.
Corinthians, sorry, it's
Yeah,
Robert Dornbos and PSV.
But Guerrieri does it again, does the inside to Robert Dornbos, and it works. And it stays like this now. Maybe. Oh, another mistake from Guerrieri.
Race leader into the pits. Here comes the Beijing car, and Liverpool in at the same time. Now, of course, what we've got to watch here is the progress of Davide Rigon on this lap. Has he got another set of tyres there?
Yes, another set of new tyres. Woo.
Great stop, wasn't it? And Olympiakos come in too for Ben Handley. Keep an eye on now where Davide Rigon is as he comes around the track, as opposed to John Martin. I think John Martin's going to be comfortably in front. Yes, he is, as he comes down the pit lane. I'm still waiting to see Rigon join the straight. There he is, and it's going to be a clear manoeuvre for Beijing to retain the lead after the pit stops of those that have stopped, ahead of Anderlecht. Anderlecht's Davide Rigon then coming through next, and then Liverpool still will retain their third position. Away goes Ben Handley, and they're right down at the end of the pits there, Olympiakos and Basel. But there's problems. They've got a real battle in the pit lane going on. He's going to have a battle all the way out onto the track.
Yeah, you can't be side by side, it's not allowed. Oh, and he crosses the white line as well.
Yeah, he might get into trouble for that.
Yep, not good. You can't stay side by side, you have to give away. So whether it was Robert Dornbos or Ben Handley who didn't give way to the other car, I'm not sure. For sure the white line was crossed there. And Corinthians is now in 11th position, which is quite good.
Yes, it is very good. Corinthians, Robert Dornbos holding on to position ahead of Olympiakos for the moment, but I wonder if the stewards will be taking a look at that at all. Let's just take a look at the replay there of what was going on in the pits. So he got released from the stop. What you can't see behind at the moment is that Corinthians were heading down the pit lane, and they were side by side at this point.
Yeah, but who's ahead? That's the question. I think that Olympiakos was ahead. It's hard to see, but there he was crossing the white line, and you cannot do that. The white line, you have to stay inside. It's a safety thing, exiting the pit lane.
Yeah, so there could be some stewards' decisions handed down in a little while, but we're going to have to wait and see. So what's happening up front? Well, Beijing lead this race currently thanks to a good stop and a very strong drive from John Martin currently. Still got a few more to make their pit stops and to finish off that round of pit stops. Tottenham and Flamengo just crossing the line. Beijing lead, Anderlecht second, Liverpool in third. It's Tottenham still in fourth, Flamengo fifth, Bordeaux in sixth place, then Lyon, then Basel. And in fact, so Basel actually ended up pretty much the same because, of course, they were... but Basel now just tucked in behind the Lyon car there. So far,
must have done a mistake, Basel, somewhere, because he was in front of AC Milan. No, actually, no, he's still in front of AC Milan.
Yep.
Lyon hasn't done the pit stop yet.
That's right. Yeah, Tristan Gomedy's leaving it late, isn't he?
Yep.
And car 9 under investigation. Well, there's no surprise there. That was what we saw, what you noticed when Olympiakos went over the white line. So that could be a penalty for Olympiakos.
Yeah, or a drive-through, yeah, possibly.
So pit closes in 5 minutes, and Lyon could still got time to make their stop. And in fact, getting out of the way there, Tristan Gomery of Lyon. He's not actually making a fist of it at all. He could do, because he's still fighting for position, but he's allowed them to go past.
Yeah, that's very nice from him. He's probably not very happy with his car, and he knows that he hasn't done his pit stop yet. He spun, so his race is pretty much over, and he's going to pit very soon. And we're back with the leader now, John Martin, which has pulled away a very nice and comfortable gap, probably around 5 seconds, I should say.
Yeah, Beijing, very comfortable gap. Basel still have 5 push to pass available. Bordeaux have 6, and they're sitting in 6th place as Tottenham there across the line in 4th place. Flamengo in 5th position, with Andy Soucek in the Flamengo car this weekend. He's switched around between different cars a little bit in the latter part of the season, but he's keeping the pressure on Tottenham's Craig Dolby here, no doubt about it. Bordeaux with Frank Pereira on board, currently running in 6th place. Basel now in 7th position, with Lyon having allowed them past, basically, so up to 7th place for Max Wissel. But remember, Max Wissel for Basel, there is Lyon into the pits. Max Wissel for Basel is Anderlecht's closest challenger, and yet Anderlecht are running 2nd, Basel are running 7th. So Davide Rigon is all set to extend his championship lead in this first race of the day. He won't get it sorted if they finish as they are now. He won't win the title in this first race, but he'll certainly put more of a buffer between himself and the others. Meanwhile, still got a good race going on here between Olympiacos and PSV. This is for 11th, but it might become a bit irrelevant, because it could be that car 9 will have to come into the pits for a drive-through. We don't know. We haven't seen any decisions yet.
No, we haven't, and Guerrieri made his comeback this weekend.
Yep.
And he's suffering a little bit, but we're on board with him now. Esteban Guerrieri, the Argentinian driver who did very well in the past in the SuperLeague Formula, having to readjust a little bit to the car. And in front of him is a championship contender that is suffering very much in that race and losing on every opportunity to win the championship, as all the guys are using pushes to pass now.
Yeah, as the clock ticks away, people are really beginning to use that extra horsepower when they get a chance. I wonder if Guerrieri here will try and use his push to pass as they come down the straight. Yes, he's on it. He's on it. You can see the red glow on the graphic there. He is using it, but I'm not sure he's going to be close enough here to the back of the Olympiacos car, which might have been tuned for a bit more straight line speed, perhaps.
Yeah, it was more of a question to catch up with him and stay contact, just to carry on putting some pressure onto him, saying, look, I'm here, I'm in your mirrors, and take his attention away from his driving. And Vervish is coming back. Is coming back onto Anderlecht.
That's interesting. Battle for 2nd you're looking at now between championship leader Anderlecht. There is Davide Rigon, but right behind him now is Frederic Vervish, who's been very impressive for Liverpool in recent events, and he's closed that gap, no doubt about it. Pit window closes in 2 minutes, but there's still 17 minutes of this race to go, so that gives Frederic Vervish a fair bit of time. Now look at the gain he's made in the last couple of laps. 9/10 of a second on this last lap has Liverpool gained on Anderlecht, and I wonder if there could be any kind of problem there for Rigon.
I'm not sure. It's just looks like Vervish is very competitive. Maybe the setup of Davide Rigon is not as good as yesterday. Maybe the wind that has came up has affected him a little bit. That's why he used the push to pass on the lap before, to try to keep the gap quite big. He might want to save some just to defend later on in the race.
Yes, that's right. They're counting down the amount of push to pass they have now. Anderlecht just has the 2. There's Basel in 7th place, with AC Milan right behind. Jelmer Berman hard at work in 8th place. Then FC Porto in 9th. Corinthians are in 10th. You're on board with AC Milan's car. And Jelmer Berman behind one of the major championship contenders. So you've got 2 championship contenders here. And let's not forget, €1 million are up for the championship winner, but it's still 500,000 euros for 2nd in championship and 250,000 for 3rd. So there's still a lot to play for between these 5 championship contenders, even if they don't manage to catch Davide Rigon for the outright title.
Yeah, no, I think AC Milan is probably on a new set of tyres. That's why it catches FC Basel, but still it doesn't seem very competitive to me. He struggles in the slow corners. Basel has been doing a strong race, very good start, and been fast so far.
Yeah, good effort from them. Meanwhile, there's no message on our screen regarding Olympiacos. Perhaps the stewards have checked it and decided not to give them a penalty. If they finish as they are now, Anderlecht would be on 680 points, Basel on 654, and Tottenham would be third. But look at this, that might change because Liverpool's getting ever closer to the back of the Anderlecht car.
Yeah, Liverpool is clearly faster than Anderlecht, getting closer and closer, and he still has got some push to pass to use. They both used one on that lap. So 2 left for Liverpool and only 1 left for Anderlecht, which means that Vervish has a little bit of an advantage.
Yeah, he has that in store, doesn't he? Riding on board with the data coming through as well as you watch him up to turn 6. Down through the gears, down to second gear here. Eases the throttle on. You can see the glow on the throttle as he comes up through these corners. Tight right-hander again here, down to second again. Little back stretch here where they can open it up a bit. And then it all gets pretty twisty and turny again after this, doesn't it, Bruce?
Yes, end of the straight, you have to downshift into second and then back onto the throttle, but it's a succession of tight corners, a right-hander there that leads into a left-hander again in second, a very short straight, and Vervish being very close, getting closer and closer, short straight, and again a second gear corner.
Interesting to see the pit lane times after the stops, that Beijing ended up with the fastest stops. So not only did they have the lead of the race before it started, they also had the fastest stop. Anderlecht not bad, Liverpool had a good stop, 30.3, and Bordeaux 30.2. One of the best stops that we've seen. Anybody else? Yeah, good stop by Basel, as we thought. Yeah. 30.0. Corinthians not bad either, almost the same time. So interesting to see some of those stops, and a 30.5 for Sporting Lisbon, but they are all the way down in 13th place. So Adrian Valiers is not really having a particularly successful run. Mind you, reverse grid later on today, so he might be able to do something with that.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting again. Anderlecht still keeping it together. There is another 13 minutes to go, but Liverpool getting closer and closer. Anderlecht left with 1 push to pass, Liverpool 2, so he's going to be able to put an attack together. And now we are with Basel, Milan and Porto who are fighting, and again some more fighting at the back with Corinthians and PSV, or Olympiacos, sorry, and Adelaide. Yeah,
that's right, Olympiacos and PSV. Olympiacos have actually been involved in quite a battle throughout here, and Hanley doing a fine job to keep Robert Dornbos behind him for the moment. Guerrieri just locking a left front wheel as he turned in there. Adrian Valiers is the green and white car that's behind this particular group. So these guys are likely to be the ones who are going to be at the front end of the grid, remember, in the second race. By the way, the team manager of Olympiacos has been asked to go to race control. So whether that means he is going to get a penalty or isn't, we still don't quite know. But he's still racing for the moment. Looking at Max Wissel and Jelmer Berman and Alvaro Parent. These guys are racing hard over 7th position, and there doesn't seem to be much to choose between them. John Martin, mind you, is just reeling these laps off one by one with just over 12 minutes to go, and it does look very good for the Beijing car to take another victory in this year's series. And well, barring a few little incidents and bad luck, I tell you what, John would have been a major championship contender. It just hasn't quite worked out for him this year.
No, it hasn't. It's a shame because he's been very competitive. I mean, for the last 5 or 6 events, he's always been at the front, always in the finals, always very competitive. He just had a really bad start of the season, really.
Oh, you were right, Bruce. After all the deliberating, the drive-through penalty has been called for Olympiacos.
Yeah, it's a shame because I think that initially he was ahead of Robert Dornbos and the Corinthians when they were side by side in the pit lane. And he probably got frustrated about that. And then he lost his concentration and crossed the white line, which is a real shame because initially it wasn't his mistake. But yeah, there you go. That's the rules.
Yeah, got to keep your head, haven't you, all the time, no matter what's going on around you. And Beijing still leading this race. 6.1 seconds the lead that John Martin has opened up over Anderlecht. Remember, though, Davide Rigon will be keeping a close eye on his nearest title contenders. And his nearest title contender is Tottenham in 4th place. But that means that Davide is still set to increase his championship lead. What of the other contenders? Well, you've got Basel in 7th, you've got AC Milan in 8th, and then you've got Olympiacos there in 10th place. So the contenders are all set to score some points, but from their point of view, not enough to close the gap on Davide Rigon, who's driving superbly in 2nd at the moment. Max Wissel, Jelmer Berman and Alvaro Parent, the race winner, of course, Alvaro Parent for FC Porto this year. Had a good time out in China last time when he raced in Beijing. And look, Anderlecht just using the last push to pass. Now that that could give the chance for Liverpool, that has one left, to maybe make a move.
Yes, one left for Liverpool. Maybe on the next lap we'll see what's happening. Everybody using a push to pass again. AC Milan, Basel in the straight at the same time, so one attacking, one defending.
Yeah, let's just take a look here. What is this? This is Seville. Big lock-up for Marcos Martinez, who gets into a little bit of trouble, but I think he sorted it out okay.
It was a bit strange to lock the wheel on the left side as you want to turn right.
Yeah, good point. Makes you wonder if there's something going wrong there. Back on board with Anderlecht. Now, no push to pass. Big 0 in the right-hand corner of his graphic. But actually, look, he's opened up that gap a little bit over Liverpool.
Yes, he has. And we know how strong is Davide Rigon and consistent. You look at him, never a single mistake. Always within the track limits. Never end up on the AstroTurf. He's doing a great job, and it's going to be very hard to overtake him, even though Vervish has an extra push to pass.
Yeah, and interestingly, that last lap, Anderlecht was quicker even than the race leader of John Martin, so he's actually closed that gap very, very slightly, which is just going to show how fast Davide is in the latter stages of the race. Team manager of the PSV car has now been asked to go to race control, so I wonder if we're going to see a penalty for PSV for some reason or another. Liverpool still holding on to third place. Best lap of these two, well, you can see Liverpool did a 27.3 earlier in the race, but now they're actually, Anderlecht has got the edge last time around, 28.2 for Anderlecht and a 1:28.3 for Liverpool. So Davide Rigon's got into a beautiful rhythm now.
Yeah, he has. I mean, he's been very good with all tyres as well. As we're seeing the Galatasaray car being pushed back.
I think it's AS Roma, actually.
Oh, sorry, Roma.
Yeah, easy to mix those two.
Yeah.
Just interesting, Bruce. I don't know what you think of this, but a lap there, a second a lap slower from John Martin for Beijing than Anderlecht. And is there any problem there with the Beijing car, or is he just now pacing it?
Well, it's a very good question, because when you pace it, you lose probably 0.3 a lap, but not 1 second, and that's exactly what he's lost on that last lap. So I hope he hasn't got any problem. Maybe he did a small mistake. Let's hope it was just a tiny mistake and that there is no mechanical issue there. We'll see on the next lap.
We will, yes, that's right. Meanwhile, this little group battling for 7th between FC Basel with the blue and red colours, then the black and red of AC Milan, the blue and white there of FC Porto, with Portuguese driver Alvaro Parent getting a little frustrated in his attempts to find a way through. Hasn't really been an opportunity as yet on this new Navarra circuit. We've seen there are a couple of places you can overtake. The push to pass, though, is a crucial element, and most of them have used up their allocation. What are you seeing on the lap times there?
Yeah, I think Beijing did a 28.3 and Anderlecht 28.6 on the last lap, so everything seems to be okay for Beijing. But Liverpool FC has done a mistake on that last lap. They lapped pretty slow, so they lost a little bit of track on Anderlecht, but everything is safe for Beijing.
Porto still very close to the back of the AC Milan car. Can he do anything here? Don't think so. There's just not quite enough room into the turn 3. Nice apex, which Jelmer Berman sort of missed. It's the next corner, perhaps, if you really get tucked up behind a car in this one, turn 5, there could be a slingshot available into turn 6, but you lose downforce in a single-seater. Not quite enough space there. And, again, a touch of... no, he got it sorted out again, Berman. You can almost feel the frustration coming off Parent, can't you, here?
Yeah, because he's quicker, there's no doubt about that. And Berman is struggling with lots of understeer, can never really touch the curb on the inside. And Porto is a lot quicker, but there's no way he can go because Berman is defending very well.
Yeah.
Using more of the tracks, he's sitting in the middle of the track, just not giving Porto enough space to squeeze him.
Yeah, looking back from the AC Milan car at Porto, as you say, and he's positioning the car very, very cleverly. Not weaving, but he's just making sure that it's very difficult to squeeze the blue car past. Another lap by the race leader at 28.6. As you say, and in fact, Anderlecht did a slow lap that time, a 29.4. I think he's been reasonably settled. Now, what's going on here? Because third place for Tottenham. What's happened to Liverpool? Liverpool has vanished off our screen.
Yes, the previous lap was a 1:33, so like 5 seconds off the pace. So I guess he had a problem. Yeah.
Trying to listen in on the radio there. There's a problem for Liverpool though, and that...
Okay, we think there's something wrong with the front wing as well. Stop it, but change the front wing if you stop this lap.
Oh, bitterly...
Sorry, I don't hear you.
Really disappointing for Frederik Vervish, he's driven beautifully in this race, but what it does mean is that Tottenham will score some more points. Now that is crucial because they will be third, only losing a couple more points. That means to Anderlecht Davide Rigon, and it means that Craig Dolby is still going to be very much in the hunt going into the final 2 races of Super League Formula 2010. It also helps FC Basel because they've gained a place out of this.
Yes, it's a great opportunity for Tottenham, because it means that if he does a really good race in race 2 and scores more points than Anderlecht, which is completely possible to score more than 10 points, because we've seen him, he's done that so many times and he does that so well, races so well in race 2, that everything is still open. So that's very interesting.
It is, it's fascinating. That could make a huge difference in the outcome of this championship, because Beijing are leading this race, Anderlecht in second, Tottenham in third. Tottenham won't close the points gap anymore, but they will be 1 place ahead on the grid, remember, straight away, because of the entirely reverse grid. Tottenham will be 1 place ahead of Anderlecht on the final grid, and a chance perhaps to further close that points gap. Fascinating stuff. Basel coming across the line then, holding on to 6th place now as a result of the demise of Liverpool. 7th position right behind them for AC Milan, 8th for Porto, 9th position for Corinthians. It means that Sporting Lisbon has come up into the top 10. Porto going very wide. Perrin almost lost it there. Just recovers, and he could be under threat from Corinthians.
That was a very nice recovery. It was a mistake, but a very nice recovery from Navarra. He's pushing really hard and didn't have much downforce, being so close of the car in front of him.
And in fact, he recovered it so well, Bruce, that he didn't actually come under much threat. Take a look at this.
What? Sideways, 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 and no spin. And you can see there is some water that came on the camera, because this AstroTurf on the left side, the green fake grass, there was
a front wing problem, wasn't it?
Yeah, front wing problem. He probably touched Rigon, or
maybe early in the race.
Yeah.
Oh, such a shame though, because Frederik's been driving beautifully here. Of course, what it will mean is that Liverpool car will be starting up front in race 2. Not by any plan, but he will be on the reverse grid right up there, won't he?
Yeah, true, and he rejoins the track between the 2 leaders. He has to let pass, and he's letting pass. Anderlecht, nice and easy, doesn't get into trouble.
So Davide Rigon holding on to 2nd place. Nothing he can do about what's going on behind him. From the Tottenham point of view, Craig Dolby will be well pleased. He's going to be getting a podium finish if things stay as they are right now. Looking at the push to passes available, not many have much left. We know that Anderlecht, there we are riding on board with him, has no push to passes available. He's got a big margin over Tottenham though, because Tottenham's a further 8 seconds behind. Now, this is the championship situation as they stand now. The gap between Anderlecht and Basel would be 23, and between Anderlecht and Tottenham, 24 points. So Basel would still just hold on to 2nd as they are right now, but Tottenham within shouting distance. Olympiacos would be back on 6-3-2, and that puts them almost out of it. Remember, you get 50 points for a victory in the main race, and there are a few points available for the super final. So Olympiacos aren't completely out of the hunt, but it's looking much more difficult, and the same really for AC Milan, who actually I think might be out of the hunt entirely at the end of this race. We'll have to check the points on that one. Fastest lap times in this race, Beijing, no surprises there. Race leader has set fastest lap earlier on in the race. Anderlecht though with the 2nd fastest lap, and interestingly Tottenham also with a good lap. Flamengo also quick. We've got there's a message that we might be getting a bit of rain. Now that's going to make life a bit exciting in the closing lap or 2. We've only got a couple of laps to go here, Bruce, but a bit of rain now, that could certainly liven things up.
Yeah, we can see a few drops coming on our windows. That's going to be very interesting, because those big cars with 750 brake horsepower and slick tires are not fun to drive in the rain. I can tell you, I experienced that. It's going to be a fun last lap if the rain comes. There's 1.5 minutes to go.
But interestingly, we've only got 25 minutes until the 2nd race. So even if the rain doesn't affect this race, it sure could affect the next race. And they haven't got much time to prepare. Look at Basel. Basel have made up some 7 places in this race from their original grid position. It was a disappointing showing for whatever reason in qualifying, but they have fought back here pretty well. But the man who's driven so superbly is John Martin. Interesting speed trap figures. Bordeaux actually with just set a 265 km/h speed trap figure. It's slightly odd because it's so much faster than everybody else.
Yeah, that's a little bit strange. 10 k's more. Speed trap is not the top speed. It's probably when you cross the start finish line, because the top speed around here is 20 kilometers quicker than that. It's about 275, 278, depending on the wind direction and how much downforce you're carrying. 30 seconds to go. John Martin crosses the line, which means that there will be another lap.
Yep.
And another 2 laps. Am I right? Or
I think we'll just probably get the one more lap.
Yeah, one more lap and the checkered flag.
Yep.
So only a few kilometers to go for John Martin, who's been very strong. Just did one mistake on one lap, but kept it together still. Used 2 new sets of tires, flew off at the start and kept the lead all through the race. This is Anderlecht on board with the championship leader, who extends his leadership.
Yep. He does, but he's not certainly got it wrapped up yet, has he? He's going to have to fight hard for it in the second race, and of course he'll be starting at the back for the second race on the final row of the grid. Bit of a lock-up there. Ooh.
Big lock-up.
One of the first mistakes that we've seen in recent times from Davide Rigon. He's not under threat from that car behind. He was earlier, if you remember, but the Liverpool car is now a lap down. So I don't know whether he thinks he's racing Frederick Vervisch, but he doesn't have to worry.
No, I don't think he is, but yeah, it was a strange mistake because he kept the brakes locked for a long time. It wasn't dangerous because it was in the slow corner and you could always keep it together. Last lap, last corner actually for John Martin.
Yeah, he's coming up through the kink and into the final turn now, and as he comes out of the final turn, the Beijing car of John Martin is going to take its 5th victory of 2010. He has been dominant in the first race of the day. A superb 50 points goes the way of John Martin. But the championship leader, Davide Rigon, holds on to take second place and an important 45 points in his attempts to win this championship for the second time in his career. Third goes to Tottenham, keeping Craig Dolby's hopes alive. Fourth goes to Flamengo. Fifth to Bordeaux, and in 6th place, having started way back in 13th place and the biggest gainer, if you like, in this race, Max Wissel for Basel, crossing the line now. Good effort from him. That keeps him in the hunt as well. He'll still be second in the points. It's going to be mighty close. 23 points the gap between Max Wissel and Davide Rigon, and there's excitement down there in the pits after a very glum set of faces yesterday after qualifying. They're looking much happier now, Bruce.
Yeah, they're looking a bit better than yesterday, where their face were down and they didn't know why they were so slow. Good effort from them. On board with Basel, Max Wissel now, who must be pleased about that race. He can only be because he was starting so far back. It's going to be hard for sure for the championship, but at least he made the effort, and he must be happy about that because he couldn't do much more than what he just did.
So John Martin just slowing it all down, enjoying himself. But remember, it's a very different format this weekend. Let's see if we can get a quick word with Max Wissel. Max, this is Ben in the commentary box. That was an excellent drive. You've come from 13th place. You've picked up off more places than anybody, and you're still in the championship hunt.
Yeah, not too bad. Never expected.
So you're 23 points behind. You've got 2 more races. Can you win this, do you think?
I don't know, hopefully. But at the moment, I'm still happy with my result, and we will see what's happened now. We have to do a few things on the car if it's possible from the time, because it wasn't so good. But at the moment, I'm still happy after yesterday.
Many congratulations. A good effort there from Max Wissel, and now it's a completely different format because the cars are going to be turned around in the next 20 minutes to come back out on circuit for race 2, and this is going to make the pressure on the teams pretty intense. But the top 3 coming in there, as we can see. Beijing's John Martin be jumping out of his car. Davide Rigon, there he is, getting the applause from his team. What a solid job. He battled with John Martin down towards the first corner, and already he's talking about the car, no doubt, and what he might need for the next race.
A bit of understeer, a bit of oversteer. He must be giving as many information to his engineer. Still good. I mean, he kept it together, but he really has. Now it's the hard part because he starts at the back and he has to make an effort and take some risk to overtake.
Result of the first race. Beijing take victory for John Martin ahead of Anderlecht and Tottenham, with a good result for Craig Dolby there. Flamengo in 4th, Bordeaux in 5th, and Basel making up a host of places to 6th. Milan down in 7th, Porto in 8th, then Corinthians and Sporting Lisbon with Adrian Valiers at the wheel. PSV finished 11th ahead of Olympiacos, so disappointment for Ben Hanley. Atletico Madrid 13th ahead of Lyon, Seville and poor old Liverpool, who'll be starting near the front, but it'll be pole position for AS Roma in race 2. So let's get down to the pits and get some reaction with Davide Rigon, the championship leader.
Davide, you haven't won it yet, but you have extended your lead.
Yes, good. I think Beijing started before me. Was a wrong start for him, but okay. He was the fastest today. I had a good car, but unfortunately he was faster today. I don't know why the track was changing respect to yesterday, but okay, now we have to keep calm. 20 points, nothing. There is already 56 points, so good. Just to be relaxed and do a good second race, because now we're starting raining in my visor, so we hope for the second.
Now, Davide, this is a new format this weekend. You've only got 25 minutes before you're going out into race 2. Can you remain calm, or is it really just so exciting, so much pressure on you?
No, for me it's better because we have no time to think. You go straight to the car. For me it's just better. The bad is that we cannot work into the car because it's Parc Fermé, but we have to keep this car. It's not so good, but safe for the race. So we cross the fingers and let's hope.
Davide, Craig just beside you. He is going to be starting in front of you on that reverse grid. Is that going to be a problem?
No, it's no problem. I just try to follow him because he is very good in the second race with the overtake. I just try to follow him, and I just have to arrive behind him, and then that's it. Okay. I hope.
Okay, well done, Davide. Craig, I'm actually going to take his words. You are starting ahead of him on the grid, but he doesn't think that's going to be a problem because he's just going to watch you and try and follow you. Can you beat him?
I can beat him for sure. He drove a great race, well done to him in race 1. We struggled with the car, but and struggled with myself. I'm feeling awful right now, but keep fighting through, for the Spurs and for myself and for everyone here and everyone at home watching. It's tough, but this race is our race now, and I'll go and put on a show for the last race of the season. So we'll see what happens.
You're only 24 points behind. Can you win this, Craig?
Of course I can. It's not over till the fat lady sings, and I haven't heard her sing yet, so I'm happy.
And you're not feeling very well. I can see that you've got liquids, you've got a banana. Do you think physically you can master this now? Because it's not long between races.
Hey, once that helmet's on, I'm a machine, so I'll be coming through that grid for sure and fighting for every place and every point. So yeah, we'll try.
Good luck, Craig.
Thank you. Cheers.
Yeah, he's definitely struggling a little bit this weekend, but he's keeping his energy up. And there is the man who got kissed through the helmet. It's always not the most romantic thing, but Max Wissel, certainly a very impressive performance in that last race. His championship hopes are still alive, and you can see the bounce in his step. Only 17.5 minutes now until that second race gets underway. So this is where the pressure's on the teams. They've got to refuel, they've got to put tyres on. Let's get down to the pits, and Max is with Abby.
Max, I know you're telling me to be quick because it is so urgent now in between races, but what a first race though.
Yeah, first race was really good. I had a brilliant start because I don't know what's going wrong there. I go out of the corner and had a big gap in front of me because the last corner is really tight and you can't keep the speed there. Press the button and it was perfect, the right moment, and I gained 7 positions. And after this the pace was okay, not too good, but I think it was okay. But now it's not allowed to change anything on the car because it's Parc Fermé, so we have to keep with this what it is and just finish, and we are safe. P3 in the championship is okay.
Does it make yesterday's qualifying even more frustrating? Because if we saw that performance when you were starting so far down the grid, if you were starting higher, you could have taken that lead.
Yeah, maybe, but when we see the speed in the race, I think there was a maximum from the positions because the cars in front of me are quicker than me. So yeah, there was a maximum. I'm still happy, and now we will see what's happening in race 2.
So yes, lots to look forward to in the second race as well. 16 minutes now until they're back on the grid. This really is a high pressure situation for all of them, completely new to Super League. It's a bit like a sort of an endurance race for single seaters. And interestingly, Bruce, that comment about the cars being in Parc Fermé, they can't make any technical changes while they're in the pits here.
No, the only thing they can do is refuel the car, actually pump out the fuel that is left, pump in again all the fuel that they need, but they cannot change the car setup. And a point that you were raising, which is right, which is if it rains, they can't change the car as well, they can't change the setup. Maybe they can do it on the track, we'll see later on.
Yeah, that's right, we'll have to watch that one. Interesting teams using coolers on the brakes to cool those very hot brakes after the first race. They're allowed to look around the car to see for any problems. But this is the situation with the championship. 23 points to lead now. There are 50 points available for a victory, remember. Basel in second, Tottenham in third. But then Olympiacos are almost out of it, and AC Milan are out of it now. They cannot win the championship. So we're down to 4 contenders. Further back, some potential race winners who could come in this second race to take a victory here at Navarra. It's still all to play for. We have had the first race of the day here at Navarra, and this is what happened. Beijing started from the outside of the front row and got a great run into the first corner. Tottenham's Craig Dolby went on a charge as ever. Actually, he kept it pretty sensible into the first couple of corners and picked up places, but FC Basel made the best of starts, going from 13th and taking 3 or 4 cars on the run into the first bend. There were 1 or 2 victims, AS Roma getting into a spin towards the back of the field, but Craig Dolby had the hammer down. This little mistake notwithstanding, he was still pushing to try and catch up to Anderlecht in particular, as Davide Rigon went into the race with a championship lead that he intended to protect. Ben Hanley battled with Robert Dornbos, both on the track and in the pit lane, and in fact they picked up a penalty for crossing the white line on the exit of that pit lane, and Olympiacos dropping down in terms of the opportunities to still win the title. John Martin was dominant out in front. Anderlecht had some pressure on from Liverpool. Frederick Vervish was looking very, very strong indeed. Sadly, he was going to have problems later on, and that meant that he had to make a pit stop and come in for a new front wing. So Liverpool will actually be starting near the front for the reverse grid race, but they were unable to score many points in the first race of the day. Rigon himself had no such problems. He was able to hold on to second position throughout the race, but nobody had an answer for John Martin up front. Tottenham moved up into third place thanks to the demise of Liverpool, and a very strong finish for Basel in sixth place, having started in 13th on the grid, meant valuable points, and they're still second in the chase. But John Martin came through to take win number 5 of the season for the Beijing club, and the Australian driver done good in race 1. So this is the points that were scored in the first race. That's the result of the first race as well. 50 points to Beijing, 45 to Anderlecht, and 40 points to Tottenham. Basel picked up 29 points, but AC Milan's 26 points means it's not really enough for them to maintain their challenge in the championship. And Olympiacos picked up just 14 points. So again, it's looking less likely for them that they're going to be able to challenge for the outright championship title. Well, in terms of the outright standings, let's take a look at what it means. Anderlecht are still leading. They had a 7-point lead. Now it's up to 23 points, but remember, they have to start right at the back of the grid now. Basel are second in the points. Tottenham are third. Olympiacos' chances are very, very remote, and AC Milan's chances are pretty much out the window. So we're looking at 3 football clubs now with a chance of winning the championship, but there's no doubt Anderlecht are still favourites. Well, here we are in northwestern Spain, not far from the city of Pamplona. It is a beautiful part of Spain, a circuit that's new. It's also it's new to have motor racing in this part of Spain. Motorsport, of course, has become more and more popular thanks to the efforts of Fernando Alonso in recent years, and it's nice to see a good turnout of fans have turned up this morning. Well, this year the schedule has taken us all around Europe, starting at Silverstone. We were at Assen in the Netherlands. Of course, we've had those recent events in China, the Ordos event, and then Beijing. But here we are at a brand new circuit. It seems very suitable that we are here in Spain to finish the season off. And it's proving to be an exciting, entertaining layout. Some overtaking, not easy, but the push to pass has been effective on the main straight. And let's just take a look at that layout. As I say, push to pass, Bruce, has been pretty effective here.
Yeah, it made a big difference, and we could see so many maneuvers into that long straight at the bottom of the circuit layout that you can see, and as well lots of things happening around those tight corners, and lots of wheel spinning and sliding. Very nice.
Yeah, nice to watch, no doubt about it. Well, Tottenham now sitting third in the championship, of course. And let's just take a little look now at how the championship has got to the situation it is with the story of the season.
SuperLeague Formula has reached its grand finale. The 2010 season has travelled across Europe and Asia, and for 11 championship rounds it's been non-stop drama, action and at times explosive excitement.
Well, that's a huge accident by Chris van der Drift.
The season started in Silverstone this April. Craig Dolby of Tottenham Hotspur blasted off, setting the stage for the races to come. He'll be on top of the championship for the first half of the season.
That's victory for Spurs. Yeah, baby!
Jelmer Berman of AC Milan scored valuable points early in the season, eventually taking the championship lead in round 5 in Germany.
Dominant display by Jelmer Berman.
Well done, guys. Good job.
The diverse talent in Super League meant young drivers were mixing it up and beating former stars of F1 and IndyCar.
Oh, the crashes! Oh, takes off 2 cars.
He's taken out Montagny. Oh no, Corinthians has got up and over.
Atletico Madrid's Maria de Vallota was improving well from her debut in 2009, but when the championship reached her home track in Jarama, she was involved in one of the crashes of the season.
He has to go into the gravel and he goes in slowly, and Maria de Vallota tries to rejoin and gets walloped. There was that by Bourdais.
It's just plain dangerous, it's stupid.
Rookie Chris van der Drift made a name for himself in the Olympiakos car, winning back-to-back super finals, but disaster struck on the back straight of Brands Hatch.
Oh, that's a huge accident by Chris van der Drift.
There has been a massive accident on the backstretch here of Chris van der Drift for Olympiakos.
I definitely had a lot of luck on my side to get through.
Back out on the track in the south of Europe, and AC Milan's Jelmer Berman started to lose his luck. Davide Rigon of Anderlecht was still performing consistently and saw himself emerge on top of the leaderboard after solid performances in rounds 8 and 9. Basel's Max Wissel followed in his slipstream, moving into second in the championship.
Max Wissel and Basel claim the win.
Congratulations, Max. Congratulations.
The Olympiakos team made a remarkable comeback with new driver Ben Hanley, who immediately made his mark.
That is a phenomenal manoeuvre by Ben Hanley. He goes up in the 3rd place.
Round 10 saw Super League make its first trip to China and provided the race of the season.
Well, Olympiakos are let it through. Contact. Ben Hanley under the back of the Basel car. That is Super League racing at its very best.
Returning from Asia, and it had never been so tight at the top of the championship. 5 drivers started the day with title-winning dreams and a chance to collect the €1 million prize. But as they all know, there can only be one Super League Formula champion.
And after the first race of the day, which was won by John Martin of Beijing, the destination of that title is looking more and more as though it's going to Anderlecht's Davide Rigon. He finished in 2nd position here, and that was a solid performance, exactly what he needed to further extend his championship lead. But it is certainly not all over, because we have an entirely reverse grid, remember, in Super League Formula. The car's already beginning to line up, and that means that AS Roma start from pole with Maxi Cortez, the young Spanish driver. Chris van der Drift returning with Galatasaray. He's on the outside of the front row. Frederic Vervish, who was fast for Liverpool, starts 3rd, and Marcos Martinez, another Spaniard, starts 4th for Seville. 5th on the grid, Tristan Gomedy of Lyon, and another Spanish to the lady racer, this time Maria de Vallota for Atletico Madrid. Then 7th on the grid, Ben Hanley of Olympiakos. Esteban Guerrieri is 8th for PSV, and those two are racing hard in the race number 1 here today. As we go further down the grid, some of the more successful drivers from race 1. Adrian Valiers for Lisbon, Robert Dornbos for Corinthians, then Alvaro Parent of Porto, and Jelmer Berman of AC Milan. Back on row 7, Max Wissel then for FC Basel, then Bordeaux. They're followed by Flamengo and Tottenham. And then as we get towards the very back, of course, it is the John Martin who'll be starting right at the back, courtesy of the win earlier on. And Davide Rigon, championship leader, he's now going to have to survive and get through if he's going to protect to take that second championship win. So that's the lineup for the grid for this race. So cars are on the grid already, and as you can see, just under 6 minutes to go in this one. Chris van der Drift is going to be on that front row of the grid. We caught up with him a little bit earlier.
It's come about last minute, but I'm here again, and after the crash, been working hard to get back as quick as I could, and I was hoping to be earlier, to be honest, but no, it's good to be back for the last race and go out there and have a good weekend. Hope. Since I was a little kid from karting, and I've been in crashes in go-karts, and you get back in and you get on racing, and I suppose having a big crash like this in cars, I suppose if you're scared, then you're in the wrong sport. You just have to get on with it and get back to the business, and this is what I do and what I love to do, and I'm not scared at all by what happened, and sometimes that stuff does happen, and you get over it and move on, I suppose.
So Chris is back, and he's starting up front because of the reverse grid. Meanwhile, Davide Rigon will be starting last but one on the grid, but he is such a cool customer, Bruce, and accustomed to this, having to do it all from the back again.
Yeah, he did it many times, and he's done well, and he's got one to look for as well. Ahead of him, Tottenham, he just has to follow him as well, because he's really good at that.
But FC Basel a bit further up the grid because of finishing 6th, so a good opportunity there for Max Wissel, but in a way, he's right in that midfield group where it's terribly easy for it to go wrong. Especially into the first corners, very easy to make a mistake through there. We saw you can get squeezed and everything can go wrong, but he couldn't make the most of it, do another very good start like he did in the first one, and go to the front. Tottenham Hotspur with a chance here as well. Third in the points going into this final race. It really is all to play for. Just over 3.5 minutes until the second race of the day gets underway as we look towards the championship. So all the cars lined up on the grid, and of course starting right at the very back is the winner just 20 minutes or so ago, less than that. It's John Martin. He's now got to fight his way through and try and get through to the super final. That's his main aim. Still 100,000 euros on offer for that super final. Starting last but one, of course, is Davide Rigon for Anderlecht. He's not so much thinking about the super final, he's thinking about the outright championship, and that's what he is chasing. But what about Tottenham? Craig Dolby, he's next up on the grid, and we know what a hard-charging racing driver he is.
Yes, he's amazing in those races where you have to start at the back. He can charge. I mean, the first lap he overtook 3 cars already, so if he can do that again from the back, it's going to be amazing to look at.
Yeah, it is. Let's hope they all get through the first corner safely. That's the main thing. We don't need too many dramas. There's Andy Soucek, who's driving for Flamengo this weekend, not really in the championship hunt. Again, he's another one who's looking to try and get through to the super final, and he'll have a good chance of doing that from there, no doubt about it, if he can just pick off the places. And then Bordeaux, Frank Pereira, he can be quick on his day.
Yeah, he was okay in the first race. He was very impressive in quali. We'll see what he can do in race 2.
That's right. Now further up there's Max Wissel. He has got plenty on offer, if you like, but there's only one answer for him. He's got to charge. He's got to go for it big time and then sort of hope the others have problems. Jelmer Berman, I think, is now out of the battle for the win, but he's still going to try and pick up points.
Yeah, I mean, now he has nothing to lose, so we'll see what he can do. He's a very good racer as well. Must be disappointed though.
Yeah, it's hard to feel that you're in that position where you can no longer win it. Navarra Parent of Porto had a strong run, but he got a bit stuck behind the AC Milan car. He won't want that again. And Robert Dornbos could do with finishing off the season strongly.
Yeah, he was consistent in the first race. He said he wanted to finish on a high. Didn't have a great start of the weekend, so let's fingers crossed for him.
Adrian Valiers, his title is going to be handed over this afternoon. He won for Liverpool last year, but he's enjoying being back in Super League Formula. And there's Esteban Guerrieri for PSV.
Yeah, he had a stop-and-go penalty in the first race, a drive-through penalty for driving standards, because he's pretty frustrated. He's used to be at the front usually, so let's see what he can do from there.
Ben Hanley of Olympiacos, not really much chance for them now, unless something remarkable happens for them to win the title, but still the super final to chase. Maria de Vallota, she's ahead of that little group on the grid. Let's see how she gets on in the Atletico Madrid car, and well, going into these last couple of races, still a super final, as I say, later on today for the top 6-point scorers from the 2 races. And remember, only 6 go into that super final. Tristan Gomedy there for Lyon, and there is Marcos Martinez of Seville.
Marcos Martinez being apparently something is happening in the car. They're in a rush, they have new tyres. Frédéric Verviche, who was very, very good in the first race, very fast, pushing Anderlecht. He's now starting right up at the front as well, so he has a good chance.
And here we are on the front row. It's Chris van der Drift for Galatasaray, but starting from pole position is the young Spaniard, Maxi Cortez of AS Roma. Now, the pressure's going to be on him a little bit, no doubt about it, because he's only 22 years old. He raced for Sporting Lisbon at Portimao, had a 15th place and a non-finish in the second race. So this is going to be a testing time for Maxi Cortez on the front row of the grid. But he's a former Spanish F3 champion, and he's raced in a bit of LMS as well, so he knows the business. He's just going to have to try and get away. Now waiting then for the second race of the day. Problems, I think. Oh, somebody's down and injured at the back there, Bruce. Middle of the grid, in fact. Somebody's not been able to get away as a result.
He's up now. He's up, I think. I'm not sure. Yeah, the person's up.
That's a bit frightening, and I don't know what happened there. Yeah, the person is up. The debris has been picked up. There was a wheel cover. I don't know what happened there, because that seemed to be before the cars moved away on the formation lap. So there's a bit of clearing up to do here.
Yeah, the car is not ready. I think it's Franck Pereira, Girondin Bordeaux.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what happened there, but the car is still on the grid, so I don't know what the procedure is going to be. They're probably going to have to stop on the grid unless they can push that car out of the grid now, and he will start from the pit lane. Apparently everybody is safe, because everybody walked out of the track fine.
Okay, let's see if we can get a quick word with Chris van der Drift in the Galatasaray car. Chris, this is Ben in the commentary box. It must be great to be back, and here you are on the front row for this one.
Yeah, it's definitely good to be back at the car again. Well, the week is not going too great so far. It's good to be driving, so that's good. And hopefully this race, we finish at the end.
Well, we hope it goes well for you, and there he is in second as the grid moves around, as the formation lap takes place. You're looking at the grid at the bottom of the screen now. Chris van der Drift then for Galatasaray. It takes a bit of getting used to. It was such a last-minute deal, this, and that's why he's driving for Galatasaray rather than Olympiacos, because Olympiacos had it all planned that Ben Handley was going to drive this weekend. When it became possible that Chris would drive, there just wasn't the chance to put him in the car, but he is out for Galatasaray. Whatever the problem was for Bordeaux, they've sent him on his way.
Yeah, he's going to start from the pit lane. He's ready, he's aligned, waiting for the lights, but inside of the pit lane. So it's all good for him.
Well, that helps a few guys at the back, some of the quick guys at the back, because they've got one less to pass, haven't they?
Yeah, and it's not looking good for Girondin Bordeaux to go in the final now, in the super final. It's a shame.
Yeah.
But let's see, they're heading through the last few corners. The pace is very, very slow, and they're getting a little bit excited, trying to keep the brakes and the tire temperature is not easy at that pace. Now the safety car is in.
Yeah, and they haven't really got themselves in much order yet. This is a little less tidy than it was last time. We'll wait and see if they manage to get themselves lined up. They are doing so as they come up to the last corner. You've got Galatasaray, the yellow and red car, on the outside with Chris van der Drift on his return. You've got Maxi Cortez. They are a bit strung out. Will they get the green? Yes, they get the green. Away we go. Racing once again in Spain. Chris van der Drift on the outside. Maxi Cortez on the inside. They're all fanning out behind, and it's Cortez, or is it? Van der Drift going around the outside into the first corner. Oh, he's gone a bit too wide. He's going to try and come back in again in second, or is he? Holding on, no, he's going to drop to third. Meanwhile, behind them, everybody's jostling for position, and Chris van der Drift tried a bit too hard. Meanwhile, Ben Handley with the Olympiacos cars getting involved once again. One of those behind, trying to pick up. There's Liverpool, I think, going pretty well as expected.
Yeah, and Guerrieri as well was on the inside. So leading is Roma, followed by Sevilla. And then Lyon as well, doing a good job overtaking Maria de Villota, who's defending on the inside. Ooh, there's going to be a contact there. Yes, no. Ooh, it was close.
Oh, I think might have been a contact for Handley from someone else.
Yeah, from behind. He's been overtaken by Corinthians on the left side and Robert Dombus, who's going to try to squeeze him on the inside. Oh, and he locks the wheel and goes straight.
Oh, fantastic. Gets passed by Adrian Valiez as a result of that. What great pictures on board with him as it, or just behind him as it happened there. Now, what of the championship contenders who try and get a little glimpse of the guys behind this to see how the championship contenders are getting on, and at the end of the first lap we'll count them through. Have they all survived this first lap? I can see Basel, I can see Tottenham, I can see Anderlecht are still going, but troubles for Flamengo.
Yeah, troubles for Flamengo, and at the back John Martin is right at the back behind every car. Basel seems to have had a good start again.
Yep, it does look good for Max Wissel as he tries to close the gap in the championship. Cross the line, Maxi Cortez of AS Roma leads this race. Seville second, Liverpool third, Galatasaray in fourth, then PSV and Lyon. Atletico Madrid, Maria's in seventh, then Olympiacos. Then you've got a battle between Sporting Lisbon there and Porto. Oh, somebody went a bit too deep into turn 3.
Yeah, I think it was the leader actually. No, it was Marcos Martinez made a mistake.
Looking further back, Basel in 13th, Tottenham in 14th, Anderlecht 15th, which is... Davide Rigon will be very comfortable with that because none of his big rivals are far ahead. He's still in one piece. The car hasn't been collected by someone. They're looking at Maria de Valotta in the middle of that group with the number 15 car. She's still under some pressure from the red and white Olympiacos, but Andy Soucek, we saw him going slowly on that last lap, and sure enough the Flamengo car has pulled off to the side of the road. Liverpool currently running in third position, I think, still in third. No, he's in second now, so Frederick Vervisch has gained a place on this last lap, as meanwhile you say John Martin hasn't made any progress from the rear of this field.
You know, it's hard for those guys at the back because they're all very competitive, they're all lapping fast, and it's hard to find a way past each other. Girondin Bordeaux is right in front of him, and then Anderlecht, and then Tottenham, and all the championship leaders are still together.
A lovely situation for Davide Rigon because he can see his nearest rivals. They're only a few places ahead. Doesn't have to worry too much at this stage. It's only if they were way ahead that he'd have to begin to worry.
Yeah, he just has to follow them, and as long as he sees them, I don't think there's big trouble for him, and he's very comfortable like that.
AS Roma leading this race on the push to pass. Liverpool in second place, Seville in third, then Galatasaray and PSV. Lots of people on that extra horsepower. The red showing up, but look at this, Basel and Tottenham going around the outside. Craig Dolby going around the outside of Max Wissel, and he's done it.
Oh, it's sideways, he's sideways, he keeps it together. Yes, makes the apex. There he goes. Fantastic maneuver around the outside.
Typical Dolby, absolutely typical Craig Dolby, going for it, and he's got ahead of Max Wissel. Now remember, they were only separated by a point or so going into this race. Every point counts between these two, even if it's for second in the championship.
Yeah, and it is for second spot in the championship, and he's gonna give it all he can, as we know.
Give it large.
Usual, give it large, as he says.
Let's take a look at this, Bruce. Talk us round.
He's in the toe, right behind. He's using a push to pass, obviously. Goes, and being squeezed a little bit on the left side, but still keeps it together. Brakes super late, and he's completely sideways, like 45 degrees, but still manages to stop the car and make the apex. And he's now on the left side of the screen. Look at that. He dives in so fast, and he's completely sideways. Max Wissel would have been telling to himself, he's off, but no, he wasn't, and now he's in front and pulling away.
That was magic from Dolby. Absolutely superb, and he has got past one of his big championship rivals, but following them both is still Davide Rigon of Anderlecht, who is sitting in there, just watching what they're up to. He will get a bit nervous if Dolby starts cutting his way past a lot of cars, but that's not going to be easy. The next target for Dolby is, interestingly, AC Milan's Jelmer Berman. The two of them have raced hard all year. Both of them have led the championship at different stages this season. They've had one or two little incidents. There was a cut tyre, if you remember, at Adria between these two. Berman will not make it very easy for Dolby to pass.
No, clearly not, but Dolby looks a lot better through there. We know that Jelmer Berman has been struggling in the first race, but as well, we know that it's been very hard to overtake him. And it's raining, it starts to rain, as you can see on the camera.
Oh, that could be exciting. The championship, as it stands at the moment, that pass on Basel mean that Tottenham have moved into second in the points, and that could be worth 250,000 euros to them. So it's a massive change, and Tottenham going for it as ever. Craig Dolby on the attack here. Behind them you've still got Anderlecht and Beijing. Beijing's managed to get past Bordeaux, but the umbrellas are going up around the circuit, I do believe. There is definitely a sprinkling, and the clouds are looking darker overhead, so this race is certainly not over yet. Just over half an hour to go. We still have a pit stop in this second race, and remember, the super final, which scores points as well. Perhaps we could go all the way to that final race.
Yeah, and at the front, Frederick Vervisch is there in second position, trying to make a move. and PSV Eindhoven over to Galatasaray. Olympique Lyonnais is getting close into the battle as well. Oh, Frédéric Vervisch, another problem for him.
Yeah.
There he goes.
His hand in the air, he can't believe it. Something's gone wrong with the Liverpool car, and the rain is definitely beginning to sprinkle on our commentary box. We know a problem there on the inside, just about making it. PSV, it's slippery, I think now, maybe just beginning to get a little slippery, or are they just using the push to pass and getting in the corner too fast?
Yeah, I'm not very impressed with Marcos Martinez driving. That just went nearly, not brake testing, but just using too much of the inside of the track to block at the exit of a corner. You can block when you're inside, but to block when you're getting out of the corner, that's not so nice. I don't like that personally.
PSV's moved up to second place though, and I tell you what, Esteban Guerrieri's not afraid of a bit of rain. He had a brilliant result in the rain last week when he was driving in the Renault 3.5 series, so he won't be worried about a little bit of rain on his visor. Here it looks clear, can't see any evidence of rain over there. Meanwhile, Maria de Valotta still in that group. Yeah. There is Craig Dolby still trying to get past Jelmer Berman.
And AC Milan, Jelmer Berman is clearly blocking and defending big time. Every time he gets to a corner, he's inside of the track. We're on board with Dolby.
Yeah, indeed. And behind, interestingly enough, Davide Rigon has Beijing behind him, and John Martin. I wonder how aggressive John Martin might be to try and get through, because all he's got his focus on is getting into the super final. He doesn't really care about the championship, and he won't take any prisoners on his way to try and move up the order. So Davide Rigon's got to just to judge that a little bit. Meanwhile, battle for the lead going on here as PSV going down the inside, and this is for the lead in the race, and he's got there on the inside, but can he hold it? Esteban Guerrieri has done it. He's got past Maxi Cortez, who has a look to reclaim it but can't do it. And Esteban Guerrieri, race winner last year in Super League, back for the first time this weekend, and he's on a charge.
Yes, he is. Maxi Cortez not having a lot of experience. It's hard for him to contend the others that has been pushing really hard, but he's still having quite a good pace now. Behind, oh, he struggles on the throttle. Behind him, he's got Marcos Martinez, then Chris van der Drift, and Olympique Lyonnais Tristan Galamendi.
And interestingly, the field has not spread out at all. They're all bunched up, so you could see some major changes. Somebody's just kicking up the dust there as they come through, and this is the battle for second between the two Spaniards. It's up the inside, Marcos Martinez on Maxi Cortez, and it's a switch around for second place, and Cortez runs wide, and that gives Chris van der Drift a chance, sliding his way round the outside. Can't quite do it, and now Tristan Gomedy's going to join in on the inside.
Yeah, that's a bit of a mess going on, because when you're blocking in those very, very slow corners, you're losing a lot of time, and you can see the leader just went away really, and behind everybody's on the horn saying, come on, come on. FC Porto got involved, so is Maria de Valotta. Everybody is now bunched up in a group.
Yeah, this is helping the likes of Tottenham though, because there are more chances to gain more places if they stay bunched together like this. Race leader though pulling a... Oh, there's been a big crash in the background! Round goes Adrian Valiers, I think, and the sporting... Basil out! Basil out! That is huge news in terms of the championship. Oh, has he? He's got it. He's got the car running. He's found reverse. He's going to rejoin. Well, more dramas here for Max Wissel, who does get going again. His championship hope's not completely over, perhaps.
No, he's not, but now look at that as well. Oh, Anderlecht is out as well.
Davide Rigon, championship leader, has spun. What's going on here? Has he got the engine running or not? This could change everything. The championship is at stake. The engine is still running. He's still in this.
Me out.
He said he was pushed off by someone. I don't know who it was. What I know is that Tottenham is still running.
Yeah.
And Tottenham, FC Basel is now in front of Anderlecht.
Hey, Davide, just keep driving. It's okay. It's okay. Keep pushing if the car is okay.
I hope the car is okay.
Yeah.
What they do? I come to the pit to watch. What they do?
No, carry on, man.
Yeah, pit stops are not, pit windows not open yet. So we've got to try and pick up the pieces of what's going on here, because this has made a massive change to what's going on. He's in 15th place now.
Safety car has been called. So they all have to stay on the track. They can't pit in. Tottenham has been running.
Safety car.
Safety car on circuit. So this is going to put them all together. But the biggest gainer out of all this is Tottenham. Craig Dolby has gained massively out of this.
Yes, but he's behind Beijing, which I don't understand. Something must have happened between Basel, Tottenham, and
Well, maybe it was that
Anderlecht.
incident, because they all came around that last corner. It was all happening in front of them. I think some found space and some didn't. So perhaps that's what it was about.
And but it all happened in the first corner as well.
Okay.
Anderlecht was off in the first corner.
Yeah, that
Basel,
was separate.
Yeah, that was separate. So there's something that
And Porto are leading now. I don't quite understand how that's happened either. So let's try and work all this out, Bruce. Let's get some replays here. We're on board with Basel. Now, something happened up here at the last corner.
Yeah, Tottenham was in front. Oh la la, he got caught. He could go nowhere.
But
there's
didn't
something
actually
after.
hit him.
No, he didn't hit him. But it's after. It's into the first corner. It's after that incident that something happened with Anderlecht and Tottenham. So if we could have an onboard camera of Tottenham going into the first corner, that would be fantastic, because we'll understand what really happened there.
So he didn't make contact. Now this is what happened.
He went around the outside of Corinthians, Anderlecht on his own, and he was pushed away by John Martin. He couldn't go anywhere. I mean, it's just purely a race incident.
Yes.
It's nobody's fault. They were 3 or 4 cars together, and John was on the inside. He understeered into the back of Anderlecht, and he couldn't do anything about that.
Whoa, now, how is that car going to respond, Bruce? You've driven these cars a lot. You reckon?
Yeah, I think his car is good. I mean,
Okay.
he goes around the outside of everybody. He was carrying lots of speed. And John Martin was on the inside, and it's going to be fine. I'm sure it's going to be fine.
It was a fairly sort of right angle hit on the rear wheel, which is usually a fairly solid part, but it's got to frighten him. It's got to worry him.
Yeah. And you could hear in his voice that he was very, very worried.
Wow, this is incredible.
It would be amazing if we could have the championship standing as the race is on now. I don't think there is going to be a big effect on the championship positions, as Anderlecht is still running. Tottenham is like 3 places ahead, and Basel in the middle.
No sign of any puncture on that car.
The back of the car seems okay. I mean, even you can see that the aerodynamics elements are all together, and the car is very strong, so there shouldn't be a problem.
Well, let's just draw breath for a moment, and let's just see. Porto are leading this race. That's something else that has changed. Although interesting, on that graphic, it's showing PSV. On my timing screen, it's showing Porto leading. I don't know whether that was because when the safety car came out, there's going to be a change around. They may well wave PSV through, so we'll wait to see what exactly is happening. PSV had certainly been in the lead before that. Now this is the view from onboard Tottenham. This is where Craig's view of it all.
Look at that. The 2 guys were around him, and Davide Rigon went on the inside because he didn't know that there was a car there.
No.
Basically, and John didn't have anywhere to go, and he was on the right line. Nothing wrong with John. Nothing wrong with Davide either. It's just a race incident with a slow car which was involved in between, which was Corinthians basically.
Craig must have hardly believed what he was seeing there, because he saw his main championship contender making contact with one of his teammates, in fact. So amazing. Well, what a season it has been. The highs and lows. Right now, it's looking pretty dramatic. Let's take a look at the highs and lows of Davide Rigon this season. The season didn't start particularly well for Davide. 2 finishes just inside the top 10, but a slow pit stop at Silverstone didn't help his cause, and the start of the championship wasn't quite to plan. But in the Netherlands, round 2 at Assen, it came together with a victory in the race, and indeed he went on to win the super final at the same event. So suddenly Davide was back in the hunt. Then in Zolder, he had another very, very strong performance to take victory in the super final, earning more money, but importantly earning lots of points too. And then in Adria in Italy, he won the super final yet again, and he has become the top money earner so far this season. So ups and downs of the season so far. Is this going to be an up, or is this going to be a down? We don't really know yet, Bruce, because the car's still running. He's still, as you say, if they are where they are right now, he's still looking to win this championship. But Tottenham is, some 3 places ahead of him on the road. Now, this is how the championship looks. As they are right now, an 18-point gap between Anderlecht and Tottenham. So Tottenham has to keep pushing here. Still a lot of race to go, still a pit stop to deal with. Anything can still happen, and indeed PSV are back in front, by the way. Now Porto have been pushed down to 3rd, so whatever change there was there when the safety car came out, that has been sorted out. Tottenham looking to get 2nd in the points ahead of Basel, but that's still open to debate if Max Bissell gets a good restart when the safety car comes back in.
Yeah, which should be in the next lap. Tottenham, he must have been so happy for a minute.
Let's take a look at Craig Dolby's highs and lows of the season as well. In complete contrast to Davide Rigon, Silverstone was definitely a high point for Craig Dolby. He won on the road and then came through to win the super final as well. It was an absolutely brilliant start for him, but things went very badly wrong in race 2 at Zolder. Completely nothing he could do about it. His car was taken out of the start. He injured his wrist as well, and that was a definite low point. But he's got himself back on track last time out in Beijing. It might have been a non-championship race, but he showed tremendous pace with victory there from pole position, and Craig Dolby was certainly back in that race. So he's had some highs and lows. We always know that he's a charger, and he's still in position to charge here in the final couple of races. On board with him right now, and he's currently in 11th place behind his team friend, if you like, Beijing, John Martin. Both cars looked after by the same group of people, but each of them fighting for their own football club in this race. Safety car still out on circuit. It's been a nice one, this, in a way, after that incident that for Anderlecht, for Davide Rigon, he's still at the back there, but a bit of safety car has given him a chance to find out if the car's still feeling all right.
Yeah, and I think it should be okay looking at the strength of the shock. It wasn't very hard, and it's just a question of him keeping his mind together, get back to in focus, and try to do his best, maybe gain a few places to make sure he's okay. But it's still the championship leader. He's still in a comfortable position, not as comfortable. There's been a high and a low in the race already. Let's see if he can finish on a high again.
Well, one of the drivers who've really been out of luck today, he's shown great pace, is Frederik Vervish of Liverpool, and Abby is with him.
Frederik, how disappointing. After looking so good in race 1, you're at the mercy of mechanical problems.
Yeah, that's very disappointing, and I still don't realize it. I should be crying because it was a good weekend until now. It should be a good weekend. We still had a chance for a super final, and now we have nothing. And okay, we were fast, but we go home with nothing. It's really disappointing. So because it's the last race, and yeah, it's really disappointing. Yeah.
Thanks, Abby. I do feel for him. He's driven well in his outings for Liverpool this year. He's one of those sort of underfunded drivers who's never had a chance to shine perhaps at the highest level, but what he's done has always been impressive. Look at how people progressed from the grid positions in this second race. We saw PSV have gained 7 places, Seville have gained some 2 places. Got a problem though, have we there, with trying to pick up one of the cars. Is that the Flamengo car? Or? No, that's the Sporting Lisbon car.
That's the Sporting Lisbon car, and I think that's the reason why oh, look at that! The crane went into a ditch and is stuck. That's why the safety car is still out. It's not because the track has been cleared of the racing car, but now there's a crane in the middle of the exit of the corner, and another crane is going to try to come and uncrane the first one. I don't know how to say that properly in English.
Try and tow him out. Okay, well, that gives us a bit of time to look at some of the other highs and lows. Let's take a look at Basel's season. Well, again, a little bit like Dolby, things started well because it was pole position in the first qualifying session of the season at Silverstone, but it all went wrong at Manicura in race 1 when he got taken out by his teammate, actually, Olympiakos. However, that sort of turned around because the non-finish in race 1 meant he was on pole for race 2, and Max Wissel duly delivered victory courtesy of that reverse grid. Consistency throughout the season has been the watchword for him, and in China at Ordos he had a fantastic race to fight through to 2nd place from 16th on the grid, and that is what has put him very much back in the hunt for the championship. Other notable thing about Max, of course, he's been in every super final bar 1, and that's impressive because to do that you've got to be good in both races over a race weekend.
Yeah, you have to be consistent, fast, taking some chances as well with overtakings, but keep it together. It's really complicated, and it's why it's so hard to get into the super final, and that's why there is 100,000 euros to be won at the end.
Well, we're still waiting, of course, for the pit lane window to open up, but it won't open up for the moment. It's going to be even after the restart, it's going to be a very tight battle in the pits when they do make their pit stop. We're still trying to get that car cleared from the exit of the last corner. Taking another look at the championship as it stands right now. Remember that the third race of the day, the super final, does score points as well. Just 18 points, the gap between Anderlecht and Tottenham, if they were to finish where they are right now. But my goodness, that was heart-in-mouth stuff earlier on, wasn't it, when there was contact between Anderlecht and Beijing. The two cranes trying to help each other out now. I don't quite know what the latest situation is there. You can see it for yourselves, what the plan is. Can they just not tow? They've got that crane working and moving, so hopefully they might be able to get the car out of the way fairly quickly. The long safety car period. Plenty of time for everyone to regather their thoughts, and actually I would think that Rigon, once he does sort of settle back down again, won't be too disappointed with how this is looking, because what it also means is he won't be in the worst of the mayhem when the race restarts, will he? Because he can sort of hang back a little bit.
Yeah, that's true. He's at the back. I'm sure by now he's got his head together again, because he was really, really scared, and who wouldn't be after this impact? But the car is working. It's all together now. We haven't heard him talking to his team anymore, so I'm sure he's back into the race. Now we're having Basil on the screen as well, who went into the FC Porto car as well, who spun in front of him, get it back into reverse, back on track again, kept his head together as well. I mean, this race has been amazing, and there you go. The track is going to be with a green flag pretty soon. I hope another lap maybe, because the crane is out and they've pushed the FC Porto car out of the way. Hopefully one more lap and that should be okay.
Yes, that's right. They should be able to get that back to the pits fairly quickly. A little bit of debris just being kicked up in the background by somebody. There's probably debris from that accident that is still on the track. Well, on the track at the moment, still Olympiacos are running in 6th place. That's Ben Hanley at the wheel, but it has been a season of ups and downs for Olympiacos as well. Well, Olympiacos' season really got underway at the Netherlands in race 2 with victory for Chris van der Drift. And he got into a real roll then. He won the super final in Spain at Jarama, and then he went on to take another super final victory with a breathtaking getaway at the Nürburgring. But strong mid-part to the season was then interrupted by the most dramatic of accidents, of course, for Chris van der Drift, as we know only too well. The car riding over the back of the AS Roma machine of Julien Jus and smashing into the bridge parapet, hitting the barriers and splitting in half. Well, Ben Hanley took over and did a great job for Olympiacos in China, taking the race 1 victory from pole position. And Olympiacos have performed well with 2 drivers on board.
Olympiacos and Basil, they're still in the hunt, Gunter. Your nerves just must be tested.
Yeah, I'm completely nervous. To be honest, I have seen from the race until now nothing, because I can see it. I'm too nervous.
Good luck.
Lights out on the safety car. We are getting ready to go racing once again. Only just under 14 minutes left in this second race, and we are counting down to the end of a scintillating Super League Formula season. PSV are race leaders with Esteban Guerrieri on board. The rain seems to have held off. I don't quite know where it went, because we definitely had some drops of rain and there's still some heavy looking cloud around, but for the moment it's dry. The safety car is heading in, and Esteban Guerrieri is going to dictate the pace as we get ready for the restart. Watch out for those behind, and already they're beginning to gun it. The safety car has headed into the pits, and Guerrieri is immediately attacking up to the final corner. The race is on once again. 13 minutes remain, and PSV take charge of it once more, with Seville in second, Porto in third, AS Roma in 4th place, Galatasaray in 5th with Chris van der Drift, and then the Olympiacos car immediately behind.
And then lots of things happenings as well at the back. Already Tottenham around the outside, trying to make a move on AC Milan. John Martin on the inside. Oh la la, it was so close to contact again. John Martin must be quite close as well of Tottenham. AC Milan locking the wheel, going deep into the corner, but keeps the advantage.
Here comes Dolby. He's going to try going on the outside. No way there. So will he cut back to the inside? Can't quite do it. Tottenham still on the charge. 9th place at the moment as he attacks. In fact, it's 10th place because the AC Milan car is just ahead of him. And don't forget, he's got John Martin in his mirrors as well. Where's Anderlecht? Davide Rigon's behind that little group somewhere, but he's still going. And a little bit of a lock up there. And AC Milan a bit wide. Dolby's got another chance to go through here. On board with Craig Dolby. Now surely he's going to outbrake Yelmer Berman into the right-hander. Both of them as deep as possible on the brakes. Yelmer won't give up, but Dolby's through.
Yes, great maneuver from Dolby. Fantastic. Come on, carry on pushing. It's very hard to overtake AC Milan. It's very hard because you can see Yelmer defends well and never gives up. And Craig did it again. He does his usual fantastic second race.
Yeah, he's on the attack. He's such a joy to watch. And Anderlecht still at the back of the group. There you are. Davide Rigon is still looking secure for the title. Into the pits, a whole host of cars into the pits as the pit window opens up. This is going to be very, very busy in pit lane now. It means the lead of the race goes to Porto, but boy, is it going to be tight. On board with Dolby. Got to stop right, get it clean. Oh, straight into the Jackman at the front there, but the exit's going to be even harder here.
Giron on Bordeaux is clear. Oh la 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 la, it's going to be a mess.
Oh, it's going to be so tight. Watch out for other cars rejoining. Here comes Tottenham. Looking good for Dolby. Oh, it's a slightly slow stop for Basil. Oh, wheel spinning. I hope that got done up okay. That wasn't the good stop for Max Wissel. I think he's lost some ground there, Bruce.
Yeah, a little bit, maybe not so much. There is just Maria de Villota in between, so he's going to have to overtake Maria de Villota just there, who also crossed the white line. Sorry to mention, but it was very... Well, it came out just like this. She crossed the white line. It's hard to see with that car, but there you go. Good stop from Dolby. No new tyres for anyone, so that won't be a change. But he's still in front of AC Milan. He kept the advantage of the move that he made earlier before the pit stop.
Interestingly, fastest lap of that last lap was by none other than championship leader Davide Rigon in the car that got smacked in the rear wheel by John Martin in that incident down in the first couple of corners. A 1:29.0 by Anderlecht. That means that Davide Rigon must be feeling pretty confident with the way it's handling, and he's into the pits now. So here's another potential hurdle for the championship leader. It can go wrong in the pits. Let's see if it goes cleanly or not. On board just briefly as they all head in, this next group of cars heading into pit lane, and Davide's right at the top end of the field, as you can see there, top end. Let's just take a look as he's got used tyres, I think, going on board.
Yep, everybody's on used tyres now. No more new tyres. Ooh, a bit of a problem.
Yeah, that was a slow stop, but he gets going now.
That's okay. Okay, no drama there. Oof.
Let's hope that the wheel did go on properly. There's always a bit of a scare when you see something like that. You wonder if the wheel nut did get fully done up, but he's on his way. There's Tottenham in the background, just coming across the line. Where will he come out versus this lot? Well, he's going to be ahead of Beijing. He's going to be going around the outside of Galatasaray as they go into the first corner. Maria, meanwhile, coming through. And there's Anderlecht with another car tucked in behind. He wants to try and get into some clean air here.
Yeah, that was Lyon behind him, and Basil is now last, so he moved ahead of Basil.
Yeah.
My question is now, Tottenham is making a good progression.
Yeah.
He's going to go into the super final, but will Davide Rigon go into the super final? Because there are some points to be given there.
That's a big question, Bruce, and we'll have to keep an eye on that. Tottenham might be in the super final to get another extra boost of points. It may be that Anderlecht won't be able to do that. There are 6 points on offer for the win in the super final, remember. There is Tottenham tucked in behind the AS Roma car, so he has picked up some very useful places through the pit stops, no doubt about it. Porto have yet to come into the pits, and one or two others still waiting for them to come around after their pit stops. I think Porto will be heading in this next time around, but the pit window stays open for a few more laps yet. Looking at Frank Pereira of Bordeaux, he's tucked in behind Maria de Villota. Yep, there is Porto now in the pits.
Porto, who's having a clean stop. Again, no new tyres for him. He was third before everybody started to pit. It's going to be interesting to see if he keeps back his third position. It's going to be very close. The leader's on the right side of the screen, and there he goes.
This is for the lead of the race after the pit stops, and he comes back out in second. PSV are down to third. I don't know what happened in their pit stop, Bruce, but PSV there, the other red and white car, he was leading before the pit stops. Now he's in third place.
Yeah, not such a good pit stop for them, not a good strategy. And Esteban Guerrier, as you can see, he's fighting the car very bad because we're on the outside, but is he going to make it?
Mega!
Too far. Oh, it's a real shame, but what an attempt. Amazing. Oh, and he's off again. Oh, back on track. Wow, he had to try. I mean, it was a great try, great maneuver. Didn't work, but well done on him.
He is good to watch, and as you say, he was on tyres that were up to temperature, worth a go. Now he's dropped a little bit in third. So Marcos Martinez leads for Seville, second for Alvaro Perez. Look how well Tottenham's going now, in fifth place there for Craig Dolby, and Anderlecht further back. Little battle of Maria almost being passed by Frank Pereira of Bordeaux. They are fighting over 9th place, and Anderlecht currently in 12th position. So it is definitely going to be closer and closer in the points. Davide Rigon might be getting a little more nervous, and he's got to worry too because he's got the AC Milan car tucked in right behind him, hasn't he, here? So he's got to watch out. I think he might have got past him just then, actually, so Yelma Berman might be struggling.
Yeah, I think he passed him, which is good news for him. That means that he's now in 11th position and no more in 12th position. Tottenham using a push to pass. Tottenham on the attack. He wants to make a move on AS Roma, and I think he has the pace to overtake him within the next 2 laps.
Yeah, he's got good pace, and we've seen Maxi Cortez struggling a little bit in the AS Roma car. That's the gap, and it's not much. And the back end of that AS Roma car is moving around. I can tell you from our commentary position, I don't see any rain yet, but it's definitely getting a little gloomier around us, so that could liven things up as more in the final 6 minutes of this second race of the day. 2 push-to-passes available for both of these drivers, but Craig Dolby, known as the overtaker, is definitely on a charge. Let's just watch him as he comes through. There's Maria de Vallota under pressure from Frank Pereira. He hasn't found a way past us yet. John Martin of Beijing is still running 7th, and that means that I would definitely say Beijing will be in the super final at the end of all this, which has got to be John's main target. And back on board with Craig Dolby briefly as he continues the chase of AS Roma's car.
Yes, AS Roma struggling with putting the power down. You can see the car is sliding a little bit as Craig is pretty nice and tidy into the corners. Ooh, it gets closer and closer every corner after every corner. He still has got 2 pushes to pass to use, so has AS Roma. Maybe it's the right time now, or he's not close enough, but we'll see. No, he's not using them.
Meanwhile, battle for the lead just went past it, and Porto has taken the lead. Porto's got past Seville. Alvaro Perez has used his push to pass to perfection. Now look at how the championship stands. As it stands right now, there would be an 8-point lead for Anderlecht. They would win the championship, but if he loses any more points, if Tottenham could gain one more point, one more space, then it would go down to the super final. My goodness, this is incredible. Tottenham doing everything, but he's got to get another place here, Bruce. Craig Dolby has got to get past AS Roma to keep his chances alive.
Yeah, I know, and I'm sure he's on it. I'm sure he's thinking about it. He seems pretty calm to me. He always drives better in the second race than in the first race. First race he was pushing a little bit sideways everywhere, making a few mistakes. But now he's there, focused. He has AS Roma just in front of him. AS Roma is looking in his mirrors, so he's about to make a mistake, and Craig is going to make a move. I am sure he's going to find a place to make a move.
Yeah, let's just take a look at how Porto took the lead here.
Yeah, very early on the push to pass, dived on the inside, carries on the momentum from the push to pass, clean move, nothing to say.
Yeah, very, very straightforward there. But I tell you what, we've got to watch as well. Okay, Dolby might get past AS Roma. We've got to keep an eye on what Rigon does, because he's right on the back of the Bordeaux car. So of course, if Davide also gains places, then that will change the situation again. But right now, as it stands right now, Anderlecht would be champion. But if Dolby can get past that car right in front of him, then he can keep the championship alive into the final race of the day. My goodness, this is incredible stuff.
He's on the push to pass now. That's his last push to pass, so he's very, very close, but not close enough. And he can't make the move yet. And he's over. No more. He's got still 1 push to pass to use, but he used it so he could get back into contact, because he lost a little bit of track on the last lap, so it's not going to be an easy task. What he has to do.
Oh, look at that wide line. That will give him some confidence that when the driver ahead makes a little mistake like that and misses an apex, it just gives you a boost, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, but still Maxi Cortez
doing well.
Not being slow. Yeah, clips the apex, a little bit of a slide there, but he's well early on the power and still exits the corner properly.
Yep, so he's not giving up, the youngster, the Spaniard in the AS Roma car. The super final points prediction showing us that Beijing, Porto, Tottenham and Anderlecht would get into the super final if things stay as they are. So we would have Tottenham and Anderlecht into the super final, and the championship may well go down to the final super final of the season. It's remarkable, but to do that, of course, we know that Dolby needs to gain another one. Now you're on board with Anderlecht, and Davide Rigon is still tucked in behind a couple of cars. He's got the Bordeaux car up ahead, and Maria is just ahead of them both, and she's doing a pretty good job at the moment. Her pace is looking strong, and it's not easy to get past her.
No, it's not easy to overtake. As you can see, Frank Pereira has been behind her for like 5 or 6 laps and still hasn't found her way through. She's blocking on the inside, doing a good job. In the meantime, Tottenham, on the inside, Jordan Bordeaux, Frank still can't find a way in. No, that's not the right place, and Anderlecht is right behind him.
It's scary though, isn't it? Because he might get caught up in their accident.
And yeah, you don't want to get caught up. You want to keep it together until the checkered flag. As in the meantime, at the front with Tottenham, it starts to rain.
A little bit more rain. Oh my goodness, this is nerve-wracking stuff. The championship as it stands, 8 points for Anderlecht ahead, and that would be enough for the title, but it's raining as well. The track could change. We're into the last couple of laps. Dolby just needs one place to go into the super final with a chance of winning the championship. Can he get past that one more car? He's got to throw all caution to the wind here, Dolby. We know how he can attack and how he can overtake, but if he ever needed a great move, it is right now in his attempts to get past AS Roma. The Seville car's only just ahead as well.
Yeah, and he has to be close right now because AS Roma hasn't got any push to pass left. Tottenham is using it now, which means he's gonna have a go in the next straight.
Can he make it work for him? Can he make it work down this next straight? He's running out of time.
It's now. Yes, he's gonna make it. He's gonna make it. He's close enough. He has the push to pass. Come on, Craig.
Dolby trying to keep the championship alive. He's got to get past the AS Roma car to do it. He gets alongside. He sweeps in front. He keeps his championship chances alive. This is amazing stuff from the Tottenham driver. He splits the two Spanish drivers. He's moved into fourth place. He has a chance now of winning the title. That's what he needed.
He pressed the push to pass way earlier before the corner. He set the car close enough to the car in front of him, went around the outside. Perfect move, very well calculated. And now he has another car in front of him, and maybe he's going to have him on the last lap as well.
Well, if he can, it would certainly help his cause. It will come down to the super final as things stand now, and there's still control at the Anderlecht team. They're not panicking yet. If Davide could move up a little bit more on this last lap, that would change things once again. There's the race leader. It looks as though Alvaro Parent is going to win this race. He's taken victories already this season, and it looks as though he's going to take another one here. The rain just beginning to become a bit more of a factor, perhaps. Only 6 points now separating Anderlecht from Tottenham in terms of points, and there are 6 points on offer, remember, for the win in the super final. Can he keep it alive? Remember though, if you finish the super final you still get 1 point, so it's going to be very tight. Out of the final corner, here comes Alvaro Parent. He's going to take victory in race 2 here at Navarra. Second place goes to PSV Esteban Guerrieri. Third, I think, is going to go to Seville. Fourth place goes to Tottenham. Fifth to AS Roma. Then it's Beijing and Galatasaray crossing the line ahead of Olympiacos and Bordeaux. And then behind Bordeaux, it is Atletico Madrid and Anderlecht. Now we've got to do some careful calculations here, because 6 points is the gap between Anderlecht and Tottenham. There are 6 points for the win, but you get...
The difference is 4 points because we're behind Bordeaux. The difference is 4 points.
Everybody's trying to work it out here. Has he done enough or not? It's close, because you get 1 point even if you're 6th in the super final. So the gap between winning and being last is actually 5 points. Everybody's trying to work this out. Let's see if we can grab a quick word with Craig, who's on his slow down lap. Craig, this is Ben in the commentary box. Fantastic drive, my friend. And we're still not sure if you're still in the hunt here or not. It might come down to the last race. Well, I'm not sure if he was picking up our communications. He may be busy talking to his team, of course. Let's see if we can try again. This is Ben in the commentary box. Craig, what a race that was for you. I don't know if you can hear me, but that might still keep you in the hunt. We're not quite sure ourselves yet.
Hi, Ben. That was absolutely awesome. That's one for the Spurs fans right there. And all the people watching at home. I love that race. No, I gave it 110%. There was some great moves. I think the move on Max was the move of the year. I'm just having fun right now, and let's go and see what we can do in the super final. And what will be, will be.
Do you know if you still have a chance? What do the team say?
We're 4 points behind Anderlecht and safe in second. So 4 points behind Anderlecht, safe in second. Let's just give it large.
Well done, my friend. Well, great stuff there from Craig Dolby. This is unbelievable. It's going down to the final race of the season, Bruce.
Yeah, that's amazing. Just that race was with all the ups and downs from all year. Everything happened in that last race. It was amazing. So, yeah, really looking forward to that super final. We have a fantastic Craig We have a solid Anderlecht, Davide Rigon as well, so yeah, it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, this is the season of all seasons, isn't it, for Super League Formula, as Davide Rigon tries to take his second title in 3 years in this championship, but it's been a much longer, more intensive championship this year, no doubt about it. When he won the title in 2008, it was a relatively short series. This year, it's been long, it's been grueling. It's taken us all over the world. And this is the result then of the second race. Porto, the winners, from PSV in second, Seville in third, and a mighty, mighty performance from Craig Dolby of Tottenham to keep his hopes alive in fourth. AS Roma fifth. Beijing a very good sixth, and that means that John will have pole position, I think, for the super final. Galatasaray, Chris van der Drift on his return, finishing seventh ahead of his old team, Olympiacos, then Bordeaux ninth and Atletico Madrid 10th. And Maria did a good job there from her point of view. She kept behind her the championship leader. That could have made a difference if Anderlecht had got past, but he didn't. And Davide Rigon goes into the final race. There's Max Wissel of FC Basel, and tough race for him in the end. He finished down in 14th place, but I think he's wrapped up third. We'll have to check that, but I think he may well have sorted third in the championship. Maybe not the title itself, but he has had a very, very impressive season.
Yeah, he was very consistent, and I spoke to Gunther yesterday, the team owner, team manager, and he was happy with the podium, happy with third if it was going to happen, and Max Wissel did a good job and got that third position into the championship.
Let's get down to some pits and get some reactions with Abby.
Wim, you always complain I don't interview you, and I'm interviewing you now at the most nerve-wracking time ever. We're trying to work it out. Can Craig Dolby still beat Anderlecht, or has he kind of secured the championship going into the super final?
Well, mathematically spoken, he can still beat Anderlecht, but I hope Davide takes at least 2 points, and then we have more wins and we win the championship. I really hope so, because Davide deserves it.
What is this like as a team manager watching this when it's only down to 4 points?
Well, of course, it's like for everybody. It's very nervous, and this is a big thing for the championship, big thing for Davide, and of course, financially spoken, it's also very important for us as a team. It's €1 million. It's not little money.
Good luck in the super final.
Thank you.
So 4 points the gap between the top two. There are 6 points for the win. So it's only a few points, but it's going to make all the difference. There are 6 points for the win in the super final. You get 5 for second, 4 for third, 3 for fourth, 2 for fifth, and 1 point available even if you're last in the super final. So it's only 1 point difference each the way through. So effectively, he needs 5 points more than Davide, because if they tie on points, as the team manager pointed out there, Davide has more race victories, and if he tie, it always goes to the number of race wins you've had throughout the season. They do include the super final race wins in that, and Davide's had some 5 wins already this season up against Tottenham, that's had 3 wins. So even if Craig won the race, he wouldn't have as many race wins. So basically, if Davide finishes last and Craig wins the super final or doesn't score any points, then Craig can still win the championship. You have to say the odds do favour Davide Rigon, but as we've seen, anything can happen.
Yeah, who would have expected that last race happening like this, with such a big gap he had before the race, and Craig Dolby's just had fire with him and did a fantastic race, so anything can happen in the super final.
Suddenly this race has become not just a €100,000 race, it's become a €1,100,000 race.
Yeah, exactly. So much money, and I know the teams are always tight to put the cars together, and it's very important for everybody because they share the prize money and the mechanics as well. It's so important.
Let's get down to the pits. Nabby's with Max.
Okay, Max, congratulations. It wasn't the result that you wanted, because you're not going to win the championship, but you have got third.
Yeah, definitely. I'm quite happy, because before the second race started, my radio broke, so I couldn't speak. I just hear my engineer, and yeah, everything was a bit crazy this race, especially when I stopped in front of the Sporting Club car, I think, with reverse gear and everything. So the second race was a disaster, but then I saw Ben and I was thinking about the position and said, yeah, it's safe third position, and yeah, I'm quite happy we come to Spain to win it, but after yesterday, I'm quite happy.
Max, give us your take on this super final. It's the most important super final of this season. Do you think Craig or Davide is going to take the win?
Don't know who is in pole, but Davide is safe champion, no?
Craig can still theoretically win. He's got 4 points. Davide's got 4 points on Craig, so it's down to the wire.
Yeah, for me, I have a good relationship with Craig, and if you win, I can live with it.
Well, brilliant third place. Well done.
Thank you.
And there is Craig. So let's take a little look at how they're going to be lining up for this super final race. And courtesy of the number of points scored today, John Martin will start on pole position. Dolby will start second on the grid. Third will be Alvaro Parent of Porto. Fourth will be Davide Riccon. And then behind, it'll be Guerrieri and Pereira. 100,000 euros for the race win, 1 million euros for the championship win. But what you've got to bear in mind in here is that 2 of the guys are going for the championship, but everybody else is simply going for race win. And we've seen these super finals in the past, Bruce, where accidents happen in the first corner. It's a standing start. Everything's different when you go into the super final.
Standing start, cold tires, cold front tires, lots of understeer happening into the first corner, understeering into each other as well for most of the time. So yeah, the super final is not only a case of saying everything can happen, everything always happens there. So yeah, let's have a good look, and fingers crossed it stays clean, but I'm sure that it's going to be full of excitement and things.
There's Davide Riccon. Is he going to hold on to this narrow championship lead? A 4-point advantage is all he has at the moment going into this last race. He had a 7-point lead coming into this event, opening race 1, but the race 2 antics have certainly made a change. Mind you, compared to how it could have been, remember how when he made contact with John Martin in that earlier race, it could have all been even more difficult for him. And interestingly, of course, John Martin is a sort of teammate to Craig Dolby, isn't he? And you sort of wonder whether there'll be any working together or not, or will they all just be going for their own glory?
I think they're all going for their own results, really, and what happened there was just a race incident, really. John Martin was on the inside, there was a slow car in between, and you can see Craig Dolby being super excited and just wanting to go for it, and he's going to go for the win. That's the only thing he has to do. The only way for him of winning this championship at these 1,100,000 euros is to win the race, and for Anderlecht and Davide Riccon to finish second from last or last. So the only thing he has to focus on is not Davide, is just win the race.
Well, Davide Riccon has had 3 super final victories so far this season. An amazing race in Ordos, where in fact it looked like he had won the super final there, and because he was out of position on the grid, he got it taken away. I mean, that's happened a couple of times where people haven't lined up in the correct position. Let's please hope that doesn't happen in this one.
No, it's difficult because usually on a normal race you stand to your place, so you know where you have to put your car when it's the green light, when it's the proper start.
Yep.
So you know where you have to be. But now they start from the pit lane and they have to line themselves up on the grid without having seen where they have to stand. But just now, Ben, I think it starts to rain.
You're joking. You're not joking. I'm looking at the rain drops on our window at the moment. There is definitely rain around. Oh my goodness, can any more drama apply here? Then
He'll be on the right-hand side of the grid. Pole is on the left.
Now there's a bit of
second on the right.
Chat to Craig Dolby, being told where to line up, which is, as you said, crucial in this super final, because there's no sitting on the grid for long. As soon as they get to the grid, it's basically countdown, go. There is no sitting around. So there's the odd umbrella. I tell you what, there is definitely a bit of rain falling here. They're on slick tyres. This is just going to add to dramas even more, and you can see the guys desperately trying to get some heat in those tyres.
And it's also a question now, as it's raining a little bit, to be patient with the throttle, because you have more than 700 brake horsepower with this car. If you go flat on the throttle, you're going to have wheel spin up to 4th gear, especially with the rain. So you have to be pumped up, but you have to be careful as well. Craig, don't be over pumped up, because you really want to be steady with the throttle when it's time for the green light.
And do you use your push to pass off the line? That's the other question.
I think you have to. Second gear, since you're in second or third, press the button.
Okay, here we go. Right, deep breath. Let's see what's going to happen in the final act of this remarkable season. This is the 36th race of the Super League season, if you take into account all the super finals as well. And the championship is only going to be resolved at the end of this 5-lap sprint. Here we go. Final super final, the season gets underway. Great start by Craig Dolby. He's going to take the lead. Anderlecht on the inside, trying to take 3rd place away from Porto. He's going to go side by side. No, Anderlecht into 3rd place. Clean so far into the first corner. Dolby leads. Beijing in second. Oh, it's a battle behind. On that He gets hit in the battle that's going on behind, but PSV managing to make it through there.
Yeah, PSV being blooded and going on the inside as it's a clean start, fantastic start from Craig, followed by John Martin, and then comfortable position, no, well, not comfortable, but good position from Anderlecht, good enough to win and secure the championship.
As it stands, Rigon of Anderlecht will be champion. How slippery is the track getting in places? Dolby leads. He's looking for his second Super Final victory of the year, but Davide Rigon's under pressure from Esteban Guerrieri of PSV. He's just out for glory. He wants 100,000 euros for the race win. He doesn't care about the championship or who's fighting for it, and he just wants to find a way. He's down the inside. Down the Rigon loses a place. He's down to 4th position. It's still enough, but he might be under attack now from Frank Pereira of Bordeaux. Dolby locks up a right front. He's still leading this race, and Rigon under more pressure now.
Ooh, Frank Pereira is going to go for it as well. He's going to try everything to overtake Davide Rigon. Davide Rigon will still be safe if Frank Pereira finds a way, because he will have more race win. Frank Pereira is right into his gearbox. He's going to try to make a move into the first corner. Porto is fast as well. Oh my God.
Dolby leads. Dolby is heading for 6 points in the Super Final, but it's Davide Rigon in the purple car that is under pressure, and here comes Frank Pereira, who's trying to go around the outside, and he's done him. He's got past. Rigon loses. Well, apologies for the language, but you can't blame him, because now it really comes to the nub of the matter. If he finishes where he is, he'll be on 6, 9, 8 points, but so will Tottenham. He still wins if he stays where he is. He cannot afford to lose another position, because he would win on number of race wins this season on countback. But if that car there gets past him, it's all over for Rigon, and Dolby would be champion.
Amazing. I can't find any words. I don't know what's going on into Alvaro Parente's head just now, if he's gonna try to make a move or not. Davide Rigon, the only thing he has to do is look ahead of him and try to focus on driving well. Just drive well.
What pressure for Rigon. How does he deal with this? He's got to stay on the island. He can't afford to fall off. He's still got pressure on him from Alvaro Parent, who we're riding with right now. How good is his car? What's it feeling like? Has he got the grip available? Rigon looks pretty good there, not making any mistakes. He's got to be error-free. It's a short sprint. The amount of rain around, not that much. Little flick there from the Porto car. As up front, it's still Dolby leading the race, doing everything he can to win this championship. He's being shadowed by John Martin of Beijing, but at the moment, Anderlecht doing only just enough to win this championship. Cannot afford to get it wrong, and I wonder if it might not be getting slippery in a few places now.
Yeah, it looks like it does actually, and John Martin is now right on the tail of Craig Dolby. They are kind of teammates, it's true, but I'm sure that John will want to go for the 100,000 euros. There's no more teammate then.
That's right, 100,000 euros. You're not going to give that up very easily, are you? But of course, Davide Rigon's got his eyes on the big prize, the 1 million euros. Look how close Beijing is now to the back of the Tottenham car. There's nothing to choose between them. Meanwhile, Anderlecht holding on to that absolutely crucial 5th position. Oh, and John Martin very late on the brakes, tucked under the rear wing of the Tottenham car. And likewise, Davide Rigon still not really getting away that much from Alvaro Parent.
Yeah, what a tension in this race, because as you could see, Davide Rigon and Frank Pereira are also kind of teammates, being run by the same technical group of people. And FC Porto just now, we're on board just to say that he's struggling a little bit to follow Anderlecht, so Anderlecht looks quite safe. But yeah, terrible tension. Craig Dolby leading.
Wonderful tension.
Yeah, wonderful
brilliant.
tension. Yeah, it is. And John Martin is right on his tail. He's going to try to make a move into the first corner, but Craig is going to defend to his life this position, because if he wins, he has a chance to win the championship.
That's right. And Anderlecht still holding on to 5th place. We're on to lap 4 out of 5.
Ooh, on the inside. John is on the inside.
Beijing takes the lead, and Tottenham back into 2nd place. And Beijing looking for the 100,000 euros. He is not going to be denied. And Craig Dolby's going to have to fight again if he's going to win this championship. Well, that is a big story. But John Martin said, I'm coming through. I want this final victory of the season.
Yes, and he's flying. He was fighting for pole position. He's super fast, so it's gonna be hard for Craig to follow him and try to make a move again. Oh la la, everybody inside of the box of John Martin and Craig Dolby that share the same box over there, down there. It's lots of tension.
But they're all fighting for themselves. They might share engineering setup, but they're all fighting for their own club. Oh, and it was a mistake really from Dolby, wasn't it?
I think there was a little push from John. That's what it was.
Okay.
Yeah, he was really, really close because just Dolby stopped his car down all the line now.
There's a change there. There's been I think Anderlecht has got ahead, is he, of Porto? What's happening here?
Yes, of Bordeaux.
Okay.
Anderlecht is ahead of Bordeaux now,
Yep.
so they've secured. They're all in 4th position, and they've secured more points.
So Davide Rigon has regained his composure. When they come around this time, it'll be to go on to their final lap. And Anderlecht now running in 4th, and suddenly the balance has shifted back in favour of the Belgian club with the Italian driver across the line. The final lap of Super League Formula 2010. The championship could still be resolved on this last 2.9-mile lap of the Navarra circuit in Spain. But at the moment, Anderlecht looking good. Oh, Porto versus Bordeaux. And it looks as though Frank Pereira's struggling with his car now.
Yeah. I think he still kept the position. He's gone on the outside line, still trying to defend, but Alvaro Parente has the inside line. Frank Pereira defending again. Alvaro Parente inside. They've been doing 3 corners side by side. Now it's Alvaro who's ahead and keeps the position.
Spectacular Super League is still to the flag right at the end of the season. Everybody still racing wheel to wheel, but up front it looks like Beijing are going to take victory here after a brilliant weekend by John Martin in terms of the individual race wins. And I tell you what, it will bring Beijing up to the tally of Olympiacos in terms of race victories this year, 6 wins apiece. But the big story is this guy. Davide Rigon has survived all of the dramas. He's just got half a lap to go now to wrap up the 2010 championship. Into the last couple of corners. John Martin, once he's got ahead of Tottenham, has been in a zone of his own. He's in control. He's going to take victory here. The checker flag awaits. Beijing wins €100,000 for the final semi-final victory of the year. Tottenham finish in 2nd. They beat PSV, but the champion is Davide Rigon of Anderlecht. He's done it. He's won the title for the 2nd time.
Everybody, fantastic, incredible, incredible.
Oh,
incredible, guys. Incredible.
What a performance. What a result. He is the 2010 champion. Davide, this is Ben in the commentary box. Congratulations, you have done it.
Oh, fantastic job to all my team. It was really a pleasure to work with this fantastic team. Fantastic, fantastic. Thank you to all. Thank you to all of you. Thank you. And congratulations to Tottenham.
Thank you, Davide. Well done to you. And that's a lovely view of the 2 guys who have battled into the final race here, congratulating one another. Craig Dolby finishes 2nd in the championship for Tottenham, but Anderlecht have done it, and now he can start to enjoy himself.
Yeah, you could see the mechanic of Craig being very, very sad. Oh, he's into the gravel trap.
Oops, that wasn't quite planned. Let's see if we can get a quick word with Craig Dolby. He's also enjoying himself. I might wait until he's finished his donuts, mind you, because he won't be able to press the radio button while he's doing that. And he's always a showman. And what a performance this guy has put on today. Craig, this is Ben in the commentary box. What a performance you put in today. That was just brilliant. Many congratulations. You didn't quite get there, but boy, you fought for it.
Yeah, that was good. I mean, what can you do? I mean, you just try your hardest, and yeah, I mean, I hope I great show on TV for you, and yeah, I mean, what can you say? What can you say? That was good effort by the whole of the team, and we tried our best, so hopefully we're back next year.
You were brilliant, mate. You were a pleasure to watch. Many congratulations. And we've had such fun following this throughout the season, Bruce, haven't we? And I must admit, I never really thought it would go quite as far down to the wire as it did today.
No, but that's due to Craig and his fantastic second races. As usual, he's created such a nice show. And what a great season for Davide Rigon, who's been so smooth and solid. I mean, solid runs every time. Like today, he kept it together until the end. Craig, thank you so much for the show and the overtaking maneuvers. Man, you've been fantastic this year to watch. It's been a pleasure.
Well, let's take a look at the result of the Super Final. Beijing taking victory. John Martin winning the €100,000. Tottenham a fantastic second. PSV third. Esteban Guerrieri on the podium for that one. Anderlecht, though, doing enough by finishing in fourth to take the title. Bordeaux finished fifth and Porto finished sixth, thanks to Alvaro Parent. And the rain held off, remarkably enough. It's just been spitting and spotting over the last hour or so, but it's never really decided to come down heavily. And the track here at Navarra has delivered us with the most entertaining season finale we could have really imagined. And I hope that all the fans that came here today have been able to soak up this atmosphere. There's John Martin, who really has been the driver of the weekend, no doubt about that. He is the maximum points scorer this weekend. He's the Super Final winner of the season, and he's taken the €100,000 prize. So many congratulations to John Martin. And you know, I think he was a little aware of what was going on. He sort of tried to help Craig, but in the end, the 2010 champion is Davide Rigon. Wonderful pictures. And the Azerti team, who have prepared this car and looked after Davide, they love him. I tell you what, Bruce, I was talking to some of them earlier. They adore Davide because he is so humble. He's such an easy guy to work with. And there, his fiancée, well, €1,000,000 the richer. That's going to be quite some wedding now, isn't it?
Yeah, that's going to be amazing. It's he's, as you said, he's very humble. He's always looking at his own mistake, always tries to get better, and that's what's happening when you're like that. You're a champion.
It's beautiful to see, and a real pleasure. But this guy too, I mean, he deserved it in many ways just as much as Davide did, because he has driven with his heart throughout the entire season. There is no one with a bigger heart than Craig Dolby.
No, until the end he's been fighting. Oh, his mechanic was so sad when Craig crossed he said, I'm sorry for it. They love him as well. He's such a nice guy and so into it with his heart, as you said, that the team is really bounded around him.
He is, in many ways, he's another Nigel Mansell for me. He's the guy who's got the guts, the spirit, the determination to overcome almost anything. And he just always goes for it. Nice to see John Martin was there with Craig, just talking about that little overtake manoeuvre, I'm sure. And Craig just got a bit sideways, whether there was contact or not. But Abby is down there. Let's get down there.
I'm surrounded by cameras everywhere. Davide Rigon, you are the 2010 champion. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Very difficult this race. I never think to decide the race. Hey, congratulations, Max. Well, never believe to decide the race, the championship in the free race, in the last race. Unbelievable. Because in the race 2, somebody pushing me out. And I did unbelievable. The engine was switched off. I had to do in manual mode, reverse gear to start up. Oh, it was unbelievable. I don't know. The God helped me. Say thank you. Thank you to everybody.
Sorry, man. Sorry about the touch. I didn't mean it.
Sorry, but I was too risky to lose the champion.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, no problem.
Beijing actually apologising for the incident in race 2. Now, Davide, I spoke to your girlfriend before all of this, and she said you were engaged. She said that you didn't have enough money for the wedding yet. You've just won €1,000,000, man.
Oh, for sure. I never saw so much money. Congratulations.
Thank you, Andrew.
Fantastic driver, fantastic him. Very difficult to game him because he was very quick this weekend. And I don't know why today we was not so fast, but anyway, we win, and now it's gone. Fantastic, happy, very much. I'm very happy. It was a pleasure to work with this team.
Delighted for you. Congratulations. Okay, let's find Craig Dolby. He came over to congratulate Davide. He's run off to be congratulated by his own team, but I'm going to actually run over to him and get him myself. Craig, congratulations. If there's a driver that drives with his heart, like Ben, the commentator, said, it is you. I can feel tears brimming for you.
What can I say? Just a massive thank you to the team this weekend. They've been there for me. I've not been very well, and they've made me do that. That was for them. I mean, you know, it's a great second race, absolutely awesome pit stop, some great moves that I did, and I think you saw I gave it absolutely everything I've got. And congratulations to Davide and Anderlecht and Max, and you know, everyone's had a good year this year. It's been a tough one, and you know, it's been good.
We see how much it means to you now, because obviously you're choked with emotion. Congratulations, you got second place.
Yeah, it's. I'm sure it'll feel better probably tomorrow, but right now it hurts. So yeah, we'll see. Thank you.
Well, just 2 points the gap, and in a way that's it hurts because 2 points. When you look back over a 12-event season with three races at every event, 36 opportunities to score 2 more points. It goes over and over in your head, but that's the way it is, and ultimately you can't do any more than give your best, and I think Craig has done that absolutely 100% throughout the season. Let's just take a look at those points. 2 points then, the advantage in the end for Anderlecht to take the championship, but Tottenham fought hard throughout. Basel confirming that 3rd place, the podium finish in the championship. Olympiacos finished 4th, and AC Milan, always a bit of an outsider coming into this final event, finished in 5th. Flamengo finished a good 6th with different drivers throughout the season. Porto finished 7th. AS Roma, pretty good 8th place, and the head of Beijing, which were a bit out of luck at some events. And we're going to see the championship contenders coming out onto the podium. The championship winners will be coming out to receive their trophies in just a moment or two, getting a well-earned drink of water there after a tough day. It's been a new format, of course, as well this weekend, Bruce, and yet all the cars made it through all 3 races, the ones that made it into the super final, and that is testament to the strength and preparation of these cars.
Yeah, the cars were very reliable, big, strong cars. So yeah, it worked well out of the format.
Yeah, well, there is Davide Rigoni. I think it's really beginning to sink in for him. The relief, the relaxation beginning to show in his face after the battle. And there, what a tremendous reception Craig Dolby is getting after taking the title to the last lap, the last few metres virtually of this race. He fought so hard, but just to be denied in the end. And Max Wissel, so consistent throughout the season, didn't quite make it into the super final this time, but nonetheless, a very, very impressive run. The Anderlecht anthem playing in the background as well, of course, for the Belgian club that has had so much success. Well, this is another little bit of success to add to their tally. The reigning Belgian League champions, in fact, Anderlecht, and well, they might be able to add this to their tally. They took their 30th Belgian League title in 2009, 2010. But there's Max Wissel, though, taking 3rd place for FC Basel. He's been a front-runner in the championship for the last couple of years now. Finished 3rd overall last year as well. A little bit frustrating to finish 3rd again. Again for the 2nd year in a row. It's Craig Dolby who takes the runner-up spot. Last year he lost out to Liverpool, of course. This year it's Anderlecht that have taken the title. Well, Davide Rigon was driving for Beijing in 2008 and he won the title. Now he wins for Anderlecht. And for Anderlecht, who were 6th in 2008, 4th in 2009, now they have taken the outright Super League trophy and a cheque for €1 million. Davide Rigon takes the big prize. €1 million goes to Anderlecht. Fantastic stuff. And, well, now he can start to plan how he might be spending it. Great performance from him all weekend long, and it's still getting over the fact that it all went down to the very last race of the season.
Yeah, I mean, I'm delighted for Davide because it's very well deserved, and at the same time I'm very sad for Craig because just thinking the way he should be feeling now, when you're a racing driver like that, it's your life. It's your identity. You're a racing driver, you do that for a living, and it's everything that you possess, yourself, your body and your mind is 100% into this. And when you suffer with your body and your mind and everything, and it's really, really, really hard to finish 2nd, especially 2 points behind. He might be looking okay just now, but I can tell you that it's very, very painful inside.
I know, I feel for Craig hugely, and admire him so much for the way he fought this weekend. He was quite a few points back coming into the battle this weekend. Remember, it was Basel that were closest in the points, and Tottenham had a lot of work to do anyway to close up that points gap, but he worked so hard as ever to be able to get almost within touch of that big €1 million cheque himself, but ultimately it just eluded him, and it has gone to Davide Rigon, who is certainly celebrating. Let's get back down to Abby.
And with Elisa, who's Davide Rigon's fiancée, I think there's going to be a wedding on the cars, and it's going to be a gorgeous one.
Oh, I'm very happy. It's incredible. Fantastic race. It's very hard. No, I don't know.
Oh, but you're just the most delighted fiancé, aren't you?
Yeah, I hope. I wish Davide is all for me. He's all for me.
Well done.
Oh, that's lovely. And Yep, they are going to be celebrating long and deep into the night. Well, what a season it has been in 2010. And there's going to be a lot more to come with great plans for Super League Formula into 2011. And with a championship like this, well, it's just going to be fascinating to see what happens in the future. For now, Davide Rigon is the champion for Anderlecht after a season of ups and downs, highs and lows, many different winners, but ultimately just the one champion, and it's taken the form of Anderlecht. Thank you so much for your company throughout the season. Anderlecht have taken the title by just 2 points. From me, Ben Edwards, from Bruce Ioane, many thanks to you, Bruce.
My pleasure.
To Abby Griffiths in pit lane for all her hard work. We hope to join you again next year for more Super League. Bye-bye for now.
Defendiendo los colores del club chino de Yihuan. Chicos, los cheques. Ahora vosotras, los cheques también preparados para los pilotos de fin de semana. 50.000 euros, 100.000 euros top ya. Venga, ahí estáis. Ahí los tenemos, los chicos también. Son el gol.